Chapter 8:16. The true strength of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was definitely on par with an ordinary initial Emperor Realm cultivator. Therefore, even though he had ascended to King Realm, it was still a bit difficult for Long Yu to fight against the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. This was especially true when the young master was using high-rank techniques in quick succession. Ray after ray of blade light slashed down from above Long Yu's head. After 3 consecutive slashes, not a single fallen dark star was left of Long Yu's continuously condensing. Again, another giant blade light descended from the sky and slashed down at Long Yu's head. At the same time, it sealed off the surrounding space, not giving Long Yu any chance to escape. Perfect timing! A thought struck Long Yu, and he immediately used his 7th technique, the Path of 9 Underworlds, to break through the sealed space. Then, he used the shadow evasion technique and flew several hundred meters away in an instant. The Dark Shadow Pavilion young master's saber light sliced through thin air, but he wasn't surprised at all. Since Long Yu had already used this move in front of him once, it wouldn't be very effective if he used it again. In fact, he might even be able to seize the opportunity. The Path of 9 Underworlds could only break through the sealed space in one direction. In other words, there was only one way for Long Yu to break through the sealed space with this move. The young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion took advantage of this point, and took the initiative to break through the air and appear 300 meters away in that direction. This time, it was as if Long Yu himself had crashed into the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. The 2 moon blades, imbued with the sharpness of the boundless divine characters of space, slashed at Long Yu from the left and right. Space was sealed once more, and Long Yu couldn't use the Path of 9 Underworlds to break through space again. After all, he hadn't reached the middle stage of King Realm yet, so he couldn't use the same technique in succession. He could only take it head-on. Barrier of Death. Long Yu immediately activated the Barrier of Death. The power of the divine characters of death rapidly gathered around him, forming a defensive barrier. At the same time, several fallen dark stars instantly condensed to meet the 2 moon blades. Bang! 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 Under the sharpness of the 2 moon blades, the few fallen dark stars were cut into pieces. Immediately after, the 2 moon blades slashed at the Barrier of Death. After a brief pause, the Barrier of Death completely shattered. In the next moment, the 2 moon blades directly slashed at Long Yu's body. One slashed at his right arm, while the other slashed at his waist. This scene was witnessed by the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor and the others, and they immediately jumped in fright. Was Long Yu going to die? But the next moment, the situation was unimaginable. Long Yu actually used his body to block the attack of the 2 moon blade. Although the 2 moon blades cut his skin, they couldn't go any further. Impossible! How could the body of an initial stage King Realm cultivator be so formidable? Even if he had just stepped into the King Realm and his body had been tempered by the energy in his inner world, it would still be impossible for him to have such a powerful body that could withstand an ancient mid-ranked combat weapon. Everyone thought to themselves. However, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor seemed to have understood something. She had investigated Long Yu, and naturally knew that before Long Yu had stepped into the King Realm, his body was already comparable to an expert of the King Realm. Now that he had stepped into the King Realm, and his body had been tempered once again, how strong would his body be? No one knew. This kid, I'm afraid he has cultivated some incredible body-tempering martial skill. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's beautiful eyes rippled. She was getting more and more curious about Long Yu. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's guess was right. At this moment, the strength of Long Yu's body was definitely not weaker than the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. In fact, it might even be stronger. The immemorial body-tempering martial skill, the Realm of Death, would increase the strength of the cultivator's body by several times. When Long Yu had stepped into the King Realm, his body had been tempered by the energy in his inner world. Now, the realm of death had increased the strength of Long Yu's body by nearly 10 times. One could imagine how strong Long Yu's body had become. Although it's only the realm of death, it has already made my body as strong as an Emperor Realm cultivator's when I'm still in the early King Realm. Long Yu thought to himself. However, he knew very well that it was still beyond his ability to fight against the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion with his current body strength. What he was resisting now was only the ordinary attack of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion with the crescent blade in his hand. If the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion used his divine ability or martial skill, Long Yu would definitely not be able to withstand it with just his body. Therefore, Long Yu flew downwards without hesitation. While the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was still in a daze, he had already hidden in the lost forest once again. This time, Long Yu chose a fluttering butterfly and scanned it with the Book of Darkness. Then, he transformed into a butterfly that looked exactly the same as the butterfly and flew off in another direction. If he had disguised himself as a grass or a tree, he would definitely not be able to fool the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. The young master would definitely destroy the place where Long Yu had disappeared. If that happened, Long Yu would not be able to escape. Therefore, this time, he disguised himself as a butterfly and kept flying towards the distance. As for Long Yu himself, he retrieved 4 elixirs from the Book of Shadows, 1 Heavenly Demon elixir and 3 Shadow Royal elixirs. The Heavenly Demon pill was an ancient supreme grade pill. After consuming it, it could greatly increase the compatibility between a cultivator and the shadow attribute divine runes. This was a greeting gift from the Demon Emperor to Long Yu. Long Yu swallowed it without hesitation. With the help of the Nether Dragon Blade, he absorbed all the energy contained within it into his body. What a dense spiritual energy! Just the spiritual energy contained within the Heavenly Demon pill far exceeded that of a special crystal of the Emperor Realm. After consuming the Heavenly Demon pill, Long Yu felt that his inner world was constantly being supported and expanded by the spiritual energy. Originally, his inner world was completely barren. All sorts of laws and divine runes intertwined and intertwined. It was only a space of about 20 miles in radius. But now, under the nourishment of the Heavenly Demon pill's spiritual energy, his inner world expanded continuously. Soon, it reached a radius of 30 miles. When the Heavenly Demon pill's spiritual energy was completely depleted, his inner world had already reached a radius of 50 miles. What Long Yu did not know was that cultivators who had just stepped into the early stage of the King Realm only had an inner world with a radius of 1 mile. Once their inner world expanded to a radius of 100 miles, they would be able to use the energy within to further refine their physical body and meridians, thus stepping into the middle stage of the King Realm. An inner world with a radius of 10,000 miles was qualified to fuse with the true spirit and form the origin energy, thus stepping into the late stage of the King Realm. No one would dare to imagine that Long Yu, who had just broken through to the King Realm, had already expanded his inner world to a radius of 50 miles. As Long Yu's world seed was born from the 7 Death God divine fruits, his inner world had far exceeded that of ordinary cultivators from the beginning. Now, with the support of the Heavenly Demon pill's massive spiritual energy, it had instantly reached a radius of 50 miles. He was only halfway to the middle stage of the King Realm. However, this did not bring much change to Long Yu's strength. What he was most concerned about was the other energy contained within the Heavenly Demon pill. The extremely pure aura of the Shadow Divine Runes. The aura of the Shadow Divine Runes absorbed from the Heavenly Demon pill had caused Long Yu's compatibility with the Shadow Divine Runes to increase rapidly from level 6. Shadow Royal Pill. Without any hesitation, Long Yu swallowed all 3 Shadow Royal pills. The powerful spiritual energy contained within them directly expanded Long Yu's inner world to a radius of 55 miles. At the same time, even more aura of the Shadow Divine Runes flowed into Long Yu's body. Level 7 Compatibility. Long Yu directly relied on the 4 pills to reach level 7 compatibility with the Shadow Divine Runes. In fact, he had already surpassed it by quite a bit. He was already not far from level 8 compatibility. Immediately after, Long Yu jumped out of the Book of Shadows space and circulated the Dubhe Chi drawing technique. Inside the Book of Shadows space, Long Yu could not sense the Dubhe Chi drawing technique. Therefore, he could only circulate the Dubhe Chi drawing technique after coming out of the Book of Shadows. This way, the effects of the Shadow Royal Pill and Heavenly Demon Pill he had just consumed would once again increase. The Transcendent Dubhe Chi drawing technique directly increased the effects of Long Yu's pills by 60%. Level 8 Compatibility. Endless spiritual energy and the aura of the Shadow Divine Runes flowed into Long Yu's body, directly expanding his inner world to a radius of 70 miles. At the same time, his compatibility with the Shadow Divine Runes finally increased to level 8. The effects of the 4 pills Long Yu consumed were equivalent to the effects of 40 pills for others. This also greatly increased Long Yu's strength. Now that he had reached level 8 compatibility with the Shadow Divine Runes, the power of any martial skill or ability he used would be 3 to 4 times stronger than when he was at level 6 compatibility. Originally, Long Yu was slightly weaker than the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master. But now, he could absolutely crush the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master. Long Yu only took a dozen breaths' time to consume the 4 pills. And in this short period of time, the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master had completely destroyed the area where he had transformed into a butterfly. Grass, trees, sand, and pebbles were all destroyed by the Space Divine Runes. It was a complete mess. Unfortunately, this time, Long Yu had disguised himself as a butterfly and had already flown away from that area. When Long Yu's aura changed again and he appeared in front of everyone again, everyone was shocked again. What method did Long Yu use to evade detection? Even the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor could not sense Long Yu's existence just now. When Long Yu appeared again, his aura changed again. Although they could not feel the specific changes, it was obvious that he had become stronger. Die! The Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master directly rushed towards Long Yu. A pair of moon blades condensed with the power of the Space Divine Runes appeared in front of Long Yu in an instant. 9 Nether Hunter, go! Long Yu raised his hand and directly used his 6th mystique, summoning a figure in a dark cloak wielding a scimitar. In the next moment, the 9 Nether Hunters' scimitar directly blocked the Dark Shadow Pavilion's moonblades. The clash between the Space Divine Runes and the Shadow Divine Runes caused the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master and the 9 Nether Hunter to both take a big step back. Long Yu was watching the show not far away. Not bad, not bad. The 9 Nether Hunter I summoned can actually fight against a late-stage King Realm Cultivator, and not an ordinary late-stage King Realm Cultivator. Long Yu was very satisfied with the 9 Nether Hunters' performance. Chapter 8:17. Long Yu did not even need to use his eyes to see. Just by relying on the balanced control mystic art, he could easily predict where the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion would appear. The balanced control could be said to be Long Yu's other pair of eyes, a pair of eyes that could sense the flow of energy, and was many times more sensitive than the naked eye. Even if it was just a breeze, the balanced control could sense it, let alone the energy fluctuations produced by the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion breaking through space. Long Yu did not even look. He held the Void Nether Dragon Blade and blocked to the side, directly blocking the Moon Blade in the hands of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. Immediately after, Long Yu's body erupted with the 9 Nether Divine Characters, 9 Nether Heavenly Light. When he was in the 5 Emperors' fantasy realm, Long Yu had already comprehended this move to the peak realm, and after using it many times, he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Now that Long Yu was fighting the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, his martial path mystic arts were improving very quickly, and he was just a little bit away from breaking through. 9 Nether Heavenly Light, perfection. What Long Yu was using now was the Perfection 9 Nether Heavenly Light. After reaching perfection, this martial technique could actually seal off all space within its range. As long as one was within the range of the 9 Nether Heavenly Light, no one could use the power of the spatial divine characters, including Long Yu himself. But in the 9 Nether Heavenly Light, Long Yu's speed was absolutely faster than anyone else's. Even if he could not use the power of the spatial divine characters, others could not escape from Long Yu's palm. The 9 Nether Heavenly Light instantly spread out hundreds of feet, and the entire area was occupied by the 9 Nether Heavenly Light. The young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion suddenly found that his spatial divine character power was sealed, and his heart sank. Long Yu's martial technique was like a nightmare to him. One had to know that the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was strongest in the power of the spatial divine characters. Although he had also comprehended the power of the shadow attribute divine characters, he was not strong in this aspect. In any case, he could not compare to Long Yu. Using his weakness to fight Long Yu's strength head-on? The young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was not that stupid. Therefore, what he wanted to do the most right now was to escape from the 9 Underworld Divine Light. Even if he couldn't use his Space Divine Runes, crossing several thousand feet would only take him a few breaths of time. However, would Long Yu let him escape so easily? Just as the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion moved, countless blades made of 9 Nether Divine Runes appeared in front of him. The 9 Nether blades swept towards him. The 9 Nether blades were formed from a portion of the 9 Nether Heavenly Light. Although their penetrative power wasn't very strong, they were numerous in number. What's more, when Long Yu was controlling the 9 Hellblades to attack the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master, he was also constantly swinging the Void Nether Dragon Blades to launch sneak attack. Among the 9 Hellblades, fallen dark stars were condensing and exploding one after another. Endless attacks started to bombard the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, making it extremely difficult for him to escape from the 9 Underworld Light. Unable to use the Space Divine Runes, the young master's strength dropped by at least 90%. He couldn't even condense a spatial barrier to defend himself. However, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was also compatible with the Shadow Attribute Divine Runes. As a sub-attribute divine rune that he had comprehended, he had already completely comprehended the Shadow Attribute Divine Runes. In the next moment, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion transformed into a shadow and disappeared into the 9 Underworld Divine Light. Shadow transformation. What a surprise! Long Yu was a little surprised. He didn't expect the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion to also have such a technique. However, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion should have used some kind of innate mystique, unlike Long Yu, who could only use it because of a martial technique. Although the principles behind the two of them transforming into shadows were different, it was useless to Long Yu. It wasn't just within the range of the 9 Underworld Divine Light. The entire scene was under Long Yu's control. Even the trajectory of a shadow could be clearly sensed by Long Yu. Not to mention, Long Yu also had the secret technique of balanced control. Even though the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master had turned into a shadow, his whereabouts were still within Long Yu's grasp. The 9 Nether blades and fallen dark stars kept appearing, bombarding the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master's location, blasting him out of the shadow and forcing him to continue running towards the exit of the 9 Nether Heavenly Light. Just as he was about to leave the range of the 9 Underworld Divine Light, a spiral of 9 Underworld Divine Runes bloomed under his feet, directly hindering his movement. In just a breath's time, Long Yu spat out a mouthful of 9 Underworld Dragon Breath. The power of this move became even more terrifying after Long Yu had reached the 8th level of fusion with the Shadow Attribute Divine Runes. This move directly roasted the soft skin of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion until it was scorched black and suffered endless corrosion. At this time, the benefits of having a strong physical body were reflected. Even though he was bombarded by the 9 underworld dragon breath twice in a row, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion did not lose his life. He still erupted with the power of all the shadow attribute divine runes in his body, isolating a part of the power of the 9 underworld dragon breath. At the same time, he broke free from the shackles of the spiral of 9 underworld divine runes and jumped out of the 9 underworld divine light. While the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master was escaping from the 9 underworld heavenly light, Long Yu was extremely relaxed. He hid within the dense 9 underworld heavenly light and tempered his fleshly body once again. Because he had taken 4 pills just now, his inner world had expanded from 20 miles to 70 miles. Therefore, the power of his inner world had become even stronger. It had tempered his body and made his meridians and bones even stronger. Using the same method, the damage to my meridians is getting less and less. If I want to use the 9 underworld dragon breath again, I should only need a short 10 breaths time. Long Yu was very satisfied with the effect of the heavenly demon pill. The strengthened power of the inner world and the tempering of his body made Long Yu get closer and closer to the middle stage king realm. He was just a little bit away from being able to use the same martial skills and magical powers continuously. But now, the 9 underworld dragon breath only needed 10 breaths time to be able to be used again. Compared to before, it was already a great improvement. Although the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion had escaped from the range of the 9 underworld divine light, Long Yu was not afraid at all, because at this time, he could use the 9 underworld divine light again. In other words, Long Yu would be able to completely suppress the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. The 9 underworld divine light, which was just perfect, could completely suppress the divine runes of space. It was the greatest nemesis of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. Shadow escape. Long Yu's figure flashed, and he disappeared from the 9 underworld divine light. Immediately after, he waved his hand, dissipating the 9 underworld divine light, and then spread out another 9 underworld divine light where the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was. This time, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion became smarter. Before the 9 underworld divine light spread out, he activated a spatial barrier and enveloped his entire body. This spatial barrier not only had a defensive function, but it could also maintain his perception of the divine runes of space, allowing him to use the divine runes of space even in the 9 underworld divine light. This spatial barrier was another of his magical powers, but it was a pity that it was only a middle-stage magical power. In the 9 underworld divine light, Long Yu directly released the magical power Soul Seal Absorption, and in an instant, more than half of the spatial barrier was destroyed. Immediately after, he transformed into a shadow and directly shattered the spatial barrier with the Nether Void Dragon Blade in his hand. In the next moment, the spatial barrier of the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion suddenly shattered, and he once again fell into the seemingly endless 9 underworld divine light. The 9 underworld divine light was a top-grade ancient martial skill. After cultivating it to a high level, one could imagine how powerful it was. At this moment, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was continuously being eroded by the 9 underworld divine light. Even though he hadn't suffered fatal injuries, his meridians, muscles, and bones had already been eroded to varying degrees. In the face of Long Yu's almost shameless fighting style, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was almost in despair. He couldn't use the divine runes of space that he was most adept at, and could only let Long Yu attack him in the 9 underworld divine light. In particular, in this short period of time, Long Yu had actually risen from the novice king realm to the level of the middle stage king realm. He could use the same martial skills and magical powers in a short period of time, making it impossible for him to guard against them. Hand of 9 Underworld. Spiral of 9 Underworld. Dragon Breath of 9 Underworld. Just as the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was about to escape from the 9 Underworld's heavenly light, these divine abilities came crashing down on him. Once again, he was injured, and his whole body was almost charred. Even so, he wasn't dead yet. Battles in the secret realms were more or less like this. Because one's physical body had become very strong, it was extremely difficult to kill one's opponent unless one possessed strength that far surpassed one's opponent's. The current Long Yu's strength, when compared to the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master, could not be considered to be very strong. It could only be said to be slightly stronger. Therefore, wanting to kill the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master had become extremely difficult. One had to know that the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion's true strength was equivalent to an early or even mid-Emperor realm cultivator. Against such an opponent, Long Yu had to rely on the 9 underworld divine light that had reached perfection to completely suppress him. Otherwise, even if the young master couldn't kill Long Yu wouldn't be able to kill him. After all, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was proficient in the divine characters of space. If he couldn't win, Long Yu wouldn't be able to catch up to him. But now, Long Yu wasn't going to give him any chance. By the time the young lord of the Dark Shadow Pavilion escaped the 9th underworld heavenly light's range, he was no longer recognizable as a human. This scene fell into the eyes of the other great emperors who were locked in a fierce battle. None of them could believe it. In the beginning, the late King Realm young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was able to kill Long Yu in a single move against the 6 realms divinity realm cultivator. But what happened next exceeded everyone's expectations. Long Yu used all sorts of methods to toy with the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion in order to buy time to break through to the secret realm of the Emperor Path. Immediately afterwards, he sensed that it would be difficult for him to defeat the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, so he once again used a method to stall for time. He stealthily raised his compatibility with one of the Darkness attribute divine characters to the 8th level, and with a single move, he trapped the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion in the black mist. After 2 consecutive attacks, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was almost dead. His entire body had been corroded by the divine characters of the 9 underworld divine light. Without hesitation, he tried to use spatial divine runes to escape. However, a dark celestial body appeared around him and imprisoned him in that space. He spent a breath's worth of time to break out of the star's imprisonment, only to find himself trapped in the 9 underworld divine light once more. Chapter 8:18. As Long Yu continued to unleash the 9 underworld heavenly light, the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master was completely suppressed. Again and again, the 9 underworld dragon breath corroded the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master's body to the point where it no longer resembled a human. I surrender, I surrender. The young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion finally couldn't take it anymore. His fear of death actually made him surrender to Long Yu. Long Yu was a little surprised. There were assassins who surrendered? However, on second thought, he understood. The young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was only a 13-year-old boy. Although he was extremely talented in martial arts, he had never carried out an assassination mission that was beyond his abilities. As a result, his assassination missions had always been very smooth. Logically speaking, the mission to assassinate Long Yu should be very simple. After all, the gap between their martial arts realms was too big. However, in the end, Long Yu had completely suppressed the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. If this continued, the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion would most likely die soon. He was still young. He still had hope. With the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion's martial arts talent, it was not impossible for him to become one of the strongest people in the world in the future. Therefore, he wanted to live more than any other assassin. Unfortunately, Long Yu never had the habit of leaving behind future troubles. Since you have surrendered, Long Yu said indifferently. He then raised his hand and hundreds of fallen dark stars that he had prepared earlier quickly surrounded the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. Then, under Long Yu's control, they directly exploded. Star explosion. The Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master's fleshly body had already been corroded beyond recognition. Under the explosion of hundreds of fallen dark stars, his body was instantly blown to smithereens. Just like that, a young genius died at the hands of Long Yu. Long Yu did not even consider that this guy was only 13 years old, because the other party had already picked up a butcher's knife and wanted to kill him. Therefore, there was no need for Long Yu to have any mercy in his heart. The 9 underworld heavenly light gradually dissipated, and then only the figure of Long Yu appeared in front of everyone. As for the young master of the Umbra Pavilion, his body had already been blasted into a few pieces. Each piece was charred black, and he fell from the sky not far from Long Yu. "Son!" The Dark Shadow Pavilion master let out a sorrowful cry. He had wanted to save his son from the very beginning, but just like how he had stopped the Sky Fragrance Emperor, the Sky Fragrance Emperor had also stopped him from saving his son without hesitation. Initially, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor was a little worried that Long Yu wouldn't be able to do anything to a 13-year-old boy. But now, it seemed that her worries were in vain. This boy surnamed Long didn't have the slightest bit of mercy. "Amazing, it's beyond my expectations." The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor looked at Long Yu a few times. He was very surprised by Long Yu's performance, but on second thought, he felt that it was right. Only this was worthy of the identity of the Red Emperor's direct disciple. "Since that's the case, it's about time for this battle to end," the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor smiled faintly. Even in the face of the crazy Dark Shadow Pavilion master, he didn't show the slightest bit of weakness. His body flashed with golden light again. He raised his hand and a series of golden thunderbolts fell from the sky. "This is Imperial Tao." Seeing this, the Dark Shadow Pavilion master's face turned ashen. "You've been hiding your strength all this time." "Of course. Otherwise, do you think that the few of you can stop me?" The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor chuckled. "I just wanted to see what that boy is capable of. Now that the show is over, it's time to end this battle." As soon as she finished speaking, the sky full of golden thunderbolts had completely enveloped the entire area, surrounding the Dark Shadow Pavilion master and the 3 top assassins. As the golden thunderbolts fell, the space within 100 miles was completely sealed. Even Long Yu couldn't use the Path of 9 Nether. That was because the gap between them was too big. However, Long Yu wasn't worried at all. This was because the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor had used this move to prevent anyone from the Dark Shadow Pavilion from escaping. Only a pinnacle expert like the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor could use a space seal of 100 miles. Boundless golden lightning filled the area around the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, turning it into a golden purgatory. The Dark Shadow Pavilion master and the 3 top-notch assassins were completely destroyed without any ability to resist. Not even a trace of them was left behind. After comprehending the innate magic power to the 9th heaven, the next step is the Imperial Tao, then the Imperial Tao, and finally the Emperor Tao. I didn't expect the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor to have reached this level. Doesn't that mean that the 5 emperors are even stronger? They might even have comprehended the Emperor Tao. Long Yu sighed with emotion. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor could kill the Dark Shadow Pavilion master in an instant with just the Imperial Tao. What kind of terrifying power would he have if he had comprehended the Emperor Tao? Currently, Long Yu's 7 magic power had only reached the 7th heaven at most. He was still far from the Imperial Tao, not to mention the Emperor Tao and the Emperor Tao. However, this didn't stop him from progressing in this direction. As the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor unleashed his power, all the assassins from the Dark Shadow Pavilion were quickly killed. Then, Long Yu gathered everyone together. "Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, you hid your strength too well. What if I'm no match for the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion? Wouldn't that be terrible?" Long Yu was rather puzzled by this. Don't worry. If I saw that you couldn't handle it, I would have saved you long ago. But now we got to see a good show. You are indeed the personal disciple of the Red Emperor. Amazing! The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor didn't feel guilty at all. She giggled and said, "Not bad. Heroes indeed come from young. Brother Long is really amazing." The Prime Minister of the Longue Empire, Heng Yi, also had a look of admiration on his face. With regards to Long Yu's performance just now, no matter who it was, they felt that it was very amazing. Even Yi Ziwei, who was also a genius, felt admiration for Long Yu. In that kind of situation just now, if it was Yi Ziwei at the 6th Daos Divine Power Realm, she would definitely not be able to kill the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master. The only one who could do such a magnificent feat was Long Yu alone. However, Long Yu still glared at the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. "Do you know about the Dubhe Chi drawing technique? I haven't mastered this technique yet. Because you refused to help me, I absorbed all the elixirs in advance. Do you know how much elixirs you wasted?" The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor was speechless at Long Yu's words. She hadn't considered this point. "So when we go back, you will lose half of your alliance points." I'll only give you 3 million. Long Yu said straightforwardly. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's face stiffened. One must know that Long Yu's original reward was 3 million Shinbi. Later, he paid 3 million Shinbi to the 3 people from the Longue Empire in advance, so the total should be 6 million. Now that Long Yu had deducted 3 million, didn't that mean that she didn't get anything from this trip at all? Wasn't this kid too ruthless? Moreover, he was facing the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, an elder of the Alliance of 5 Emperors. "I know you're joking, right?" The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's expression immediately returned to normal. She smiled and patted Long Yu's shoulder. "Deducting 1 million is too much. Why don't I go home and sleep now?" "Sure." Long Yu agreed without hesitation. In fact, he didn't want 3 million from the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Wouldn't that be courting death? So he said 3 million to give the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor a chance to bargain. As Long Yu expected, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor directly reduced the number to 1 million, which was exactly what Long Yu wanted. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor immediately knew that she had been tricked by Long Yu. However, what did it matter? 1 million alliance points were nothing to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Moreover, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor also knew that Long Yu had indeed lost a lot on this trip. Just one heavenly demonic pill was worth tens of millions of Shinbi. Because he had taken it before stepping into the transformative realm, he had wasted at least 20% of the pill's potency. Just this alone meant that Long Yu's loss was more than 1 million. Not to mention that Long Yu had taken a lot of other pills. However, Long Yu didn't really blame the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. At least in this battle, he had also gained a lot. He had made breakthroughs in the Book of Shadows and 9 Underworld Heavenly Light. At the same time, he had also familiarized himself with the actual combat effects of the Fallen Dark Star. Previously, he had only used the Fallen Dark Star in the fantasy world of the 5 Emperors. In the fantasy world of the 5 Emperors, using any means would not consume energy, so there was no actual combat value. But now, Long Yu had a rough idea of the actual combat effects of the Fallen Dark Star. However, the Dark Shadow Pavilion's entire assassin organization has basically been wiped out, and you have contributed greatly. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor smiled and winked at Long Yu. He transmitted his voice to him. "This Emperor can help you find the location of the Dark Shadow Pavilion's hideout, and we will split any assets hidden there in half as compensation. How about it? The assets of the Dark Shadow Pavilion." Hearing this, Long Yu's heart palpitated. Assassins naturally wouldn't bring too many things with them when they went out on a mission. Even if he killed the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master, he would only obtain a pair of mid-grade ancient crescent blades, worth only a few million Shinbi. It was nothing compared to the medicinal efficacy of the pills he had wasted. However, the entire Dark Shadow Pavilion's assassin organization had a hideout. Emperors were good at divination. Now that the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor had killed so many leaders of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, he should be able to deduce the location of the hideout from them. Deal. The corner of Long Yu's mouth rose slightly, agreeing to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's proposal. The assets of the Dark Shadow Pavilion's assassin organization would definitely not be small. Long Yu was looking forward to it, but in order to prevent any unforeseen events, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor had to search for it as soon as possible. Therefore, they couldn't stay here for too long. We'll be able to pass through the Lost Forest in a few hundred li. The 12 hideouts of the winged god race are right above us. Let's work hard and we'll be there soon. Heng Yi glanced at the front and said. Then, he took the lead and flew up. The others followed suit. Long Yu also didn't stay in the same place. He knew that the real danger was coming. If he wanted to rely on the Book of Shadows to disguise himself and sneak into the nest of the Winged God clan's demonic beasts, the danger would definitely be much higher than when he dealt with the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. Chapter 8:19. When they reached the area occupied by the Winged God clan, the others prepared to leave. Long Yu was the only one who needed to venture into the Winged God clan's territory. The others didn't need to. However, the 3 from Longgui Empire were looking forward to Long Yu's trip. Young Master Long, your strength is obvious to all. You can kill the Shadow Pavilion's young master, who is 2 realms higher than you. It shows that you have something special that we don't know about. I hope everything goes well for you. Prime Minister Heng Yi said to Long Yu with a smile. Thank you for your kind words. Long Yu nodded with a smile. He knew that the Longgui Empire was eager for him to investigate all the details of the Winged God clan's lair, so that the alliance of 5 emperors could send people to annihilate all the Winged God clan's lairs. After witnessing how Long Yu killed the Shadow Pavilion's young master, the 3 from Longgui Empire had high hopes for Long Yu. Then we'll wait for your good news. Heng Yi, Zhan Tianyuan, and the white-haired old man all smiled and flew to the same spot, waiting for Long Yu to ascend to the Winged God clan's territory. The Heavenly Fragrance Empress left. Long Yu knew that she was going to deduce the location of the Shadow Pavilion's lair and seize all the resources in the Shadow Pavilion. At that time, half of these things would belong to Long Yu. The dignified Heavenly Fragrance Empress wouldn't go back on her words. Long Yu felt that as long as he came back alive, he would definitely gain a lot. It seemed that the 3 from Longgui Empire were going to wait below. Yi Ziwei didn't leave either. She was going to wait with the 3 from Longgui Empire for Long Yu to come out. Long Yu didn't say much. He just glanced at Yi Ziwei, nodded at her, and flew straight up into the sky. Since the mission target was in the sky, there was no need for him to waste time below. According to the usual practice, there would be many patrol squads around the lair. Long Yu had to find a patrol squad, disguise himself as a Winged God clan's beast, and blend in. This wasn't a difficult task for Long Yu. The outer patrol squad was only at the early stage King Realm. Long Yu could instantly kill them with a raise of his hand. Kill one target, disguise another, and blend in with the Winged God clan. This was Long Yu's plan. Not long after, Long Yu found 3 patrolling winged beasts. One was at the mid-stage King Realm, while the other 2 were at the early stage King Realm. All of them were killed by Long Yu's divine ability. During the battle, Long Yu had already used the Book of Shadows to scan the mid-stage King Realm exotic beast. After killing the 3 fellows, Long Yu directly disguised himself as the exotic beast and flew higher into the sky. Long Yu had learned a lot about the Winged God clan's patrol mechanism from the Death Envoy. Using this mechanism, he easily bypassed most of the patrol squads. Even if a small number of them saw Long Yu, they only thought that he was a lone Winged God clan's beast. No beast would be interested in him. Disguising himself as a Winged God clan's beast was a new experience for Long Yu. At the very least, he had to control the Winged God clan's beast to fly. It was difficult at the beginning. After getting familiar with it, he didn't expose himself. He continued to fly higher and higher into the sky. The higher he flew, the higher the cultivation of the winged beasts he met. Before long, when he was about 5 or 6,000 li high in the sky, Long Yu saw an Emperor Realm beast. An Emperor Realm mutated beast has appeared outside the lair, which means that this place is extremely important to the Winged God clan. Could it be that the treasure of the Winged God clan that the 9 Nether Dragon Emperor hid is nearby? Long Yu pondered in his heart. Very quickly, he discovered that even Emperor Realm beasts were unable to see through his disguise. This allowed a huge weight to be lifted from his heart, and his entire person became much more relaxed. There was still a long distance to the lair. Long Yu had nothing to do. He sank his consciousness into his dantian and began to observe his inner world. When he was fighting with the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, Long Yu was fighting for time. He didn't have the time to observe his inner world. Now, he finally found the time. In any case, there wasn't any danger. He didn't need to spend any effort before he reached the lair. With the 7 great sacred ability seeds or sacred ability fruits as a foundation, Long Yu's body gave birth to a world seed when he was in the 6th Daos sacred ability realm. Then, Long Yu stepped into the 7 Daos sacred ability realm and used the power of the 7 sacred ability fruits as a foundation to absorb a vast amount of spiritual qi. He stimulated the world seed to explode in his body, ultimately forming an inner world. At this moment, Long Yu's dantian was his inner world. It contained the 7 fruits of divine ability, his true spirit, and so on. The 7 fruits of divine ability became the 7 pillars of his inner world. In the pitch-black and empty inner world, the 7 divine art fruits guarded at different corners, supporting the entire inner world. One could feel that the stronger the 7 divine arts were, the stronger the power of the entire inner world. The reason why Long Yu didn't use up all his energy after fighting with the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion for so long was because he had 3 high-grade divine ability fruits, which made the power of his inner world very dense. Under this situation, using up all his energy was a very difficult thing to do. Everyone's inner world is supported by the 7 fruits of divine ability. Long Yu recalled what the envoy of death told him. That's why the entire Shen Wu world has 7 pillars, which are the 7 fruits of the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor when he was still alive. These 7 pillars are also known as the 7 forbidden grounds in the alliance of 5 emperors. No one can enter any of them because once they do, not even their bones will be left. Because of that, the stronger a cultivator's natural thaumaturgy, the stronger their inner world. 4 cultivators of the Emperor Road's secret realm, natural thaumaturgy is the foundation. Only by building a solid foundation of natural thaumaturgy can they have a powerful inner world. On this point, Long Yu believes that he can do it better than anyone else. When a natural thaumaturgy reaches the 7th stage and becomes a high-grade thaumaturgy, if you want to continue improving, you can only rely on the power of your inner world to refine it. This is the only way to turn a thaumaturgy into an imperial path. The envoy of death also told Long Yu how to turn a high-grade thaumaturgy into a true imperial path. Only with the support of a true imperial path can a cultivator's inner world become more stable. In outer space, almost every Emperor Realm cultivator's inner world is supported by the 7 great imperial paths. But in Shen Wu world, there are very few people who can comprehend the imperial path. Up until now, Long Yu has only seen the Tianxiang Emperor and Yi Ziwei comprehend the imperial path. Imperial path, emperor path, innate thaumaturgy's final evolution is at these levels. As they evolve, their power will also become stronger and their inner world will become more stable. Until all 7 great innate thaumaturgy evolve into Emperor Path, they will have the foundation to break through and become an existence even stronger than an Emperor Realm cultivator. And Shen Wu world cannot tolerate such an existence. In Shen Wu world, a peak Emperor Realm cultivator is already the strongest existence. Long Yu checked his inner world and found that it has a circumference of 70 miles, which isn't too far away from a circumference of 100 miles. With a few more pills to absorb, Long Yu will be able to expand it to a circumference of 100 miles, allowing him to reach Emperor Realm middle stage. But that's not possible right now. He needs to think of a way to complete the Alliance of 5 Emperors' scouting mission before that happens. Begin refining 9 Underworld Dragon Breath. Long Yu circulated the power of his inner world to refine the 9 Underworld Dragon Breath's thaumaturgy fruit. This process doesn't require too much thought from Long Yu, it only takes a single thought. Right now, Long Yu's inner world isn't particularly strong, so the refining speed isn't very fast. But he's not in a hurry. An inner world can only give birth to other substances after it has a circumference of 10,000 miles, which can then be modified by a cultivator into an environment suitable for humans to live in, allowing other living beings to live within. The more living beings there are in the inner world, the stronger the inner world will be. And this can only be achieved when the inner world has a circumference of 10,000 miles and has fused with the true spirit to give birth to the power of origin, which is when one reaches Emperor Realm late stage. This is also why when Yu Hanshin brought Long Yu to Heavenly Mandate Island, the Heavenly Prison Thunder Pool erupted and the entire Heavenly Mandate Island was almost destroyed. At that time, Yu Hanshin put everyone on Heavenly Mandate Island into her own inner world. Just from that time alone, it's not hard to imagine how much Yu Hanshin's strength has increased. Of course, there are quite a few martial cultivators and Yao cultivators on Heavenly Mandate Island, but their overall strength isn't that strong, so the increase in strength for Yu Hanshin is far from being too strong. But it's different for Long Yu. Once Long Yu reaches Emperor Realm late stage, he can capture tens of thousands of exotic beasts of the Secret Realm, Emperor Realm, and even Emperor Realm from the Azura Ancient Palace and put them into his inner world, allowing them to live in the inner world. At the same time, Long Yu's inner world will become extremely powerful. Of course, it must be noted that not everything can be put into the inner world. If Long Yu dares to put an Emperor-level exotic beast in his inner world, that Emperor-level exotic beast will definitely smash Long Yu's inner world. Even if it's an Emperor-level exotic beast, it's still quite dangerous for Long Yu. But if Long Yu subdued those exotic beasts in advance and then put them into the inner world, there won't be any danger. These are all Long Yu's cultivation plans, but there's no way to realize them now. He thought about his cultivation plan for a while and soon found that he's arrived at the first nest of the exotic beasts of the winged god race. It's a building that looks like a beehive, floating in the air without moving. Countless 8-clawed exotic beasts of the winged god race are bustling in and out of it. Long Yu raised his head and saw that the entire sky was blue. There were 12 nests of the winged god race that looked similar to each other, scattered all over the sky. And in the endless sky, there's an incomparably dark and deep whirlpool that seems to occupy the entire sky. Long Yu knows that this is one of the 7 forbidden areas of the Shenwu world. No matter which corner of the Shenwu world you're from, as long as you fly 10,000 miles into the sky, you'll be able to see this deep and dark whirlpool. Normally, the sun and moon would rise and set, and everything would be normal. However, only when a martial cultivator flew 10,000 miles high in the sky would he be able to see a pitch-black and deep whirlpool of air at an unknown altitude. Chapter 820. Long Yu calmed himself down and didn't think too much about the 7 forbidden zones. Never mind him, even the 5 emperors wouldn't go to any of the 7 forbidden zones. After all, the 7 forbidden zones of Shenwu world were transformed from Juyo Dragon Emperor's thaumaturgy fruits, as well as the 7 pillars of Shenwu world. There's no need to mention how much power they contain, but if anything happens to any of the 7 forbidden zones, the entire Shenwu world could collapse. That's not something that the current Long Yu should be thinking about. At the very least, he needs to surpass Emperor Realm to think about the 7 forbidden zones. Right now, Long Yu can only scout out the winged god race's nest in front of him. He's currently disguised as a King Realm mid-stage winged god race beast, so no other beasts noticed him. Along the way, Long Yu saw quite a few Emperor Realm beasts, but they all seemed to be very busy and didn't recognize that Long Yu was a human cultivator in disguise. Long Yu calmed his mind, chose an entrance on the beehive fort, and flapped his wings to fly over. He finally began his scouting mission. The main goal of this mission is to find out how many beasts of various ranks are in the entire beast nest, and the route inside the nest is also very important. Even if the 5 Emperors Alliance issued a mission to exterminate the beast lairs, it was impossible for them to destroy the beast lairs directly. They would still have to pass through the path of the beast lairs and kill all the beasts within. Only then will they be able to obtain the divine rune crystals and divine rune origins inside the nest. Even the 5 emperors can't do what the Death Envoy did and split the beast fortress in half in a single strike. As Long Yu flew into the nest, he pretended to be as busy as the other beasts and flew all over the place. The paths inside the beehive fort are very complicated, but Long Yu quickly noticed that they were all connected in all directions, which perfectly matches the characteristics of the winged god race that the Death Envoy told Long Yu. There are about 10,000 beasts in the entire beast fortress, at least 10 Emperor Realm beasts, and including the ones patrolling outside, there are at least 20 Emperor Realm beasts, at least 3 of which are Emperor late stage. Long Yu quickly found out the general situation of the beast nest, and his scouting mission was very successful. Once Long Yu was sure that even Emperor Realm beasts couldn't see through his disguise, his movements became even smoother and smoother. Soon, he was able to gather more information about this beast lair. This information was enough for Long Yu to submit the mission and receive the reward. But Long Yu's goal wasn't just that. It wasn't easy for him to risk his life to come here. If this was all he got, wouldn't it be too much of a waste? Even if he could obtain hundreds of millions of alliance points by submitting information about the winged god race, for Long Yu, there were things he couldn't exchange for no matter how many alliance points he had. For example, the divine rune crystals. There weren't many divine rune crystals in the entire alliance of 5 emperors. Long Yu must collect as many divine rune crystals as possible, as well as the divine rune origins that the Death Envoy needed. Of course, even if Long Yu disguised himself as a winged god race beast, it would still be extremely difficult to obtain the divine rune crystals and divine rune origins. It wasn't that Long Yu couldn't succeed, but if he tried, he would be quickly discovered by the other beasts. If that happened, he would be in a very dangerous situation. Of course, Long Yu could immediately choose to disguise himself as part of the beehive fort and stick to the beehive wall. This way, he wouldn't be in any danger for the time being, but it would still be very difficult for him to leave the beast nest. After exploring for so long, Long Yu was very certain that there were no butterflies, flies, mosquitoes, or zerglings in the beast nest. Otherwise, Long Yu could easily disguise himself as one of these things and leave safely. With the Book of Shadows, Long Yu could naturally disguise himself as a speck of dust. However, dust had no ability to move. Once he disguised himself as a speck of dust, Long Yu would fall into a passive position. Not to mention that dust was too fragile. A winged god race beast could probably crush it with a single flap of its wings. Therefore, there was no chance for him to escape by disguising himself as such an insignificant speck of dust. Since that's the case, I'll go investigate the other 11 beast nests first. Long Yu thought for a moment and directly flew out of the beehive fort, heading towards another beehive fort. What he found troublesome was that the exotic beasts in each beehive fort came from a different tribe. Although they were all from the winged god race, they belonged to different tribes. As such, Long Yu had to change to another winged god beast to disguise himself. This procedure was rather complicated. Most importantly, he couldn't let the exotic beasts discover any traces of him while he was changing his disguise. Long Yu waited for a long time before the 3 exotic beasts in the other beast nest flew away from the main group. He directly chased after them and killed the 3 exotic beasts. Afterwards, he disguised himself as one of them and returned to the other beast nest. Using the same method, Long Yu switched to another 12 exotic beasts to disguise himself. In just 2 days, he had thoroughly investigated all 12 of the winged god fort. Not only that, Long Yu also found out where these exotic beasts were coming from. Inside 3 of the winged god forts, there were actually 3 spatial passages, allowing the winged god beast to continuously come here from another world. Moreover, the 13th and 14th nests were still under construction. This made Long Yu more and more puzzled. What were these exotic beasts planning to do? No matter what, these exotic beasts wouldn't be doing anything good here. In any case, these exotic beasts were his enemies. Since they were his enemies, no matter what they wanted to do, he just had to destroy them. The winged god beast has a superb understanding of the divine runes of space. If I want to eliminate these exotic beasts' nests, I must send people specifically to deal with them. Moreover, I must destroy the 3 spatial passages. Long Yu thought to himself. However, it was useless to think about this. He could only go back and discuss it with the alliance of 5 emperors. Of course, Long Yu's words carried little weight in the alliance of 5 emperors. Even if he was the direct disciple of the Red Emperor, not many people would care about what he said. Since this was the case, Long Yu could only try to persuade the Red Emperor first. With Long Yu's understanding of the winged god beast that far exceeded that of ordinary people, it shouldn't be difficult to persuade the Red Emperor. At that time, the elimination of these exotic beasts' nests could be put on the agenda. In fact, destroying the exotic beasts wasn't Long Yu's real purpose. His real purpose was just to obtain the divine rune crystals and divine rune source stones in these exotic beasts' nests. In every exotic beast's nest, there was a divine rune source stone and about 300 divine rune crystals. These were all great wealth. Especially for Long Yu, it was even more precious. However, how to profit from the alliance of 5 emperors' annihilation operation was a problem for Long Yu. Looks like I'll have to have a good talk with Shifu when I get back. Long Yu squinted his eyes. If he provided all the information about these exotic beast nests, wouldn't it be too much to ask for one of them? That would be about 300 divine rune crystals and 1 divine rune source stone. Just by providing some information and running some errands, Long Yu was already very satisfied with this much. As for the rest, he could just let the alliance of 5 emperors take it. Most of the divine rune crystals would be exchanged for by Long Yu using alliance points anyway. If this operation went smoothly, Long Yu would be able to obtain more than 1,000 divine rune crystals. As for whether the alliance of 5 emperors could eliminate all of these exotic beasts, Long Yu wasn't worried at all. If the alliance of 5 emperors couldn't even deal with these few exotic beasts, then Shen Wu world would have already been taken over by all kinds of exotic beasts. How could it be like this, controlled by both human and beast cultivators? In 7 days, Long Yu thoroughly investigated the situation of the entire exotic beast nest and formulated a plan to eliminate these nests. Of course, he didn't have the right to decide how the alliance of 5 emperors would act, but he could use this to make suggestions to the Red Emperor. He was certain that the plan he had formulated would definitely cause the 5 emperors' alliance to suffer the least amount of losses and wipe out all the nests of the alien beast. Since he already had a comprehensive plan, there was no need for Long Yu to take risks here alone. He didn't have any thoughts of getting any divine rune crystals. Instead, after investigating all the information, he chose to leave this place. Very quickly, he returned to Long Yu's appearance far away from the exotic beast nests and quickly flew downwards. Soon, he saw the 3 people from the Longgui Empire, as well as the young girl Yi Ziwei not too far away. 7 days, Mr. Long, how was your investigation? The Prime Minister of the Longue Empire was very concerned and quickly came up to ask. I've investigated all of them, 12 exotic beast nests. The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up as he answered. Hearing this, the three people from the Longue Empire were shocked, but Yi Ziwei had a doubtful look on her face. Really? You found information about 12 exotic beast nests? How is that possible? There must be a lot of Emperor Realm exotic beasts there, right? At least 150 Emperor Realm exotic beasts in total. Long Yu answered directly, glanced at Yi Ziwei and casually said, When I was fighting against the Dark Shadow Pavilion's young master, I disappeared a few times. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Tianxiang Empress and see if she has found any traces of me? As soon as Long Yu said that, Yi Ziwei was speechless. Of course she knew that even the Tianxiang Empress couldn't find Long Yu at the time, but she always thought that Long Yu could only hide for a short period of time. But now, it's been 7 days. Long Yu hid for 7 days, and during this time, not even a peak Emperor Realm cultivator could find any traces of Long Yu? That's unbelievable. From a certain point of view, this means that Long Yu is invincible. If he can't win, he can just hide. Who would be able to find him? For the most part, Long Yu is invincible right now. As long as he's in Shin Wu world, his life won't be in danger. But strictly speaking, that's not the case. Because the Book of Shadows isn't completely flawless, who knows what kind of thaumaturgy or ability would be able to break Long Yu's technique. That's why Long Yu doesn't feel like he's invincible, he's always on his guard. Chapter 821. The group flew all the way back to the Dragon Return Empire's Imperial Palace without encountering any obstacles along the way. It seemed that those forces who wanted to deal with Long Yu had re-evaluated the price they had to pay to deal with Long Yu after the failure of hiring the Dark Shadow Pavilion, and thus temporarily halted their operations. However, Long Yu did not think that those people would give up just like that. He was still very confident in the attraction of his secret. Since the Taiwu Empire knew what secrets Long Yu had, they naturally would not let it go so easily. Hiring the Dark Shadow Pavilion was just a probing activity. However, Long Yu did not have a good impression of the cabinet elder, Murong Xiuzhen. It was because this person told the Taiwu Abyss about him that he had caused a series of troubles. Of course, Long Yu would not be in danger when he was in the holy city of the 5 emperors. He set off directly from the transmission array in the Dragon Return Empire. After a moment of dizziness, he appeared in the transmission array in the central holy tower of the 5 emperors. I'm going to submit the mission. Yi Ziwei, come with me. I'll give you 3 million alliance points according to the agreement. When they returned, only Long Yu and Yi Ziwei were left. Yi Ziwei nodded. Although she did not figure out Long Yu's biggest secret during this trip, she had gained a lot of understanding of Long Yu. She would not stop investigating Long Yu, but there would definitely not be a chance for the time being unless Long Yu immediately moved on to the next mission. The two arrived at the mission hall of the Holy Tower together, and immediately attracted the attention of many people, including the manager of the mission hall. By now, almost the entire alliance of 5 emperors knew that Long Yu had accepted a mission to explore the exotic beast's lair, and had hired the Tianxiang Emperor and Yi Ziwei to escort him to the mission location. Not a single person thought that Long Yu could complete this mission. Let alone the dangers he might encounter along the way, just the mission of searching for exotic beast lairs was definitely not something a mere divine-tier brat could accomplish. But now, they saw that Long Yu and Yi Ziwei had returned together. Long Yu had already entered the Emperor's Path Arcane Realm, and was no longer the brat who only had the God's Path Arcane Realm. This discovery caused many to be astounded. Only 7 days had passed, yet Long Yu had directly broken through to the initial stage of the King Realm, and it's even to the extent that he isn't far from the intermediate stage of the King Realm? It was too shocking. Even so, not many people believed that Long Yu could complete the mission. After all, it was impossible for an ordinary Emperor Realm expert to complete the mission. In the alliance of 5 emperors, there were quite a number of people who could complete the mission of exploring the beast lair. All of them were Emperor Realm experts, and all of them were proficient in concealment, space, and other technique. Only then could they complete the exploration of the beast lair. However, it was absolutely impossible for Long Yu to complete the exploration mission. Everyone thought so in their hearts. This jade slip contains all the information I've obtained during my exploration. Long Yu walked straight to the front of the mission hall's steward and handed over a jade strip to the steward. The manager took the jade slip, but he didn't check it immediately because he didn't have the authority to view the contents of this jade slip. Only the higher-ups of the alliance of 5 emperors could participate in the mission hall. Therefore, the manager glanced at Long Yu and the jade slip in his hand skeptically, and then conveyed the news here. It didn't take long for a cabinet elder of the alliance of 5 emperors to appear in the mission hall. Murong Xiuzhen. When Long Yu saw this person, he couldn't help but squint his eyes. Could it be that this guy came to evaluate the completion of his mission? This wasn't Long Yu's first time seeing Murong Xiuzhen. In the North Snow Empire's Springland, Long Yu had seen Murong Xiuzhen. In the Spring Heavenly Tower, Murong Xiuzhen even spent 10,000 shinbi to open a high-floor courtyard for him so that he could cultivate in peace. At that time, Long Yu thought that this person had a good heart. But now, it seemed that Long Yu must be extremely vigilant against this person. This was because this person told the Taiwu Abyss about Long Yu's secret, which brought so much trouble to Long Yu. Murong Xiuzhen was an Emperor Realm old man. He was tall and had a heroic aura. He quickly walked out from the internal transmission array behind the mission hall. His face didn't have the slightest expression. Only when he saw Long Yu, his eyes showed a hint of apology. Long Yu, come with me. Murong Xiuzhen obviously didn't want to talk about these things in the mission hall, so he beckoned Long Yu to follow him. Long Yu hesitated for a moment, then decided to follow. No matter how crazy Murong Xiuzhen was, it was impossible for him to make a move on him in the holy city of the 5 emperors. After all, he was now the personal disciple of the Red Emperor. You wait for a while, the verification should be completed soon. Long Yu nodded to Yiziwei, then turned around and followed Murong Xiuzhen to the back of the mission hall. In a luxuriously decorated room, Murong Xiuzhen and Long Yu were sitting opposite each other. Little brother Long, I'm really sorry. I didn't consider the matter with the Taiwu Empire. I apologize for that. Murong Xiuzhen's first sentence was straightforward, which made Long Yu quite surprised. The dignified cabinet elder of the alliance of 5 emperors actually apologized to him directly? But because of this, I had a big fight with the Taiwu Abyss. Murong Xiuzhen said faintly. He insisted on taking action against you, but in the end I dissuaded him. If he really wanted to deal with you, he would lose me as a friend. So, he finally compromised. Really? Long Yu frowned slightly. Then, what's the matter with the Shadow Pavilion's assassination attempt on me? Murong Xiuzhen shook his head. I don't know, but it's definitely not the Taiwu Abyss's doing. You can ask the Heavenly Fragrance Empress about this. She blocked everyone else's divination about the Shadow Pavilion, so only she knows about this matter. If the result of her divination is that the Taiwu Empire hired the Shadow Pavilion, then please tell me, and I will take action against the Taiwu Abyss. Long Yu nodded, accepting the other party's apology. It seemed that Murong Xiuzhen had inadvertently revealed some information about Long Yu to the Taiwu Abyss, but the Taiwu Abyss must have searched for more information. Therefore, they recruited Long Yu before the illusory world of the 5 emperors opened. This was not what Murong Xiuzhen wanted, because it would not bring him any benefit. As for who hired the Shadow Pavilion to assassinate Long Yu, he would know when the Heavenly Fragrance Empress returned. Before that, Long Yu was more concerned about the reward of his exploration mission and the extra reward of providing information about the Winged God Clan. This was what he was most concerned about now. In that case, Elder Murong, please take a look at the completion of my exploration mission. Long Yu handed the jade slip that recorded the exploration results to Murong Xiuzhen. Murong Xiuzhen nodded, took the jade slip, and began to immerse his mind into it. Soon, he exclaimed in surprise, 12 exotic beast lairs? Yes, there are a total of 12 exotic beast lairs in the sky above the Dragon Return Empire, each of which is about the same size. They are even building the 13th and 14th lairs. They should be completed in less than 2 months. Long Yu nodded and said. Murong Xiuzhen frowned slightly and continued to read. He found that the description of the exotic beast lairs in Long Yu's jade slip was very detailed, even richer than the information anyone had explored before. There were even 3D models of the 12 exotic beast lairs recorded in this jade slip, allowing Murong Xiuzhen to see the internal passages of these exotic beast lairs at a glance. His current duty was to determine the authenticity of the information recorded in Long Yu's jade slip. Before this, there was almost no need to determine the authenticity of the information in all the exploration missions, because if it was fake, there would be no benefit to the person carrying out the exploration mission. This was because the Alliance of 5 Emperors would formulate a plan according to the exploration result. Once they found that the actual situation didn't match the exploration results, they would immediately stop the operation and investigate the responsibility of the cultivator carrying out the exploration mission. It was very likely that the cultivator's life would be taken away. The consequences of falsifying information in a mission of the Alliance of 5 Emperors would be very serious. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to do so. But now, the information provided by Long Yu was too detailed. So detailed that Murong Xiuzhen felt that Long Yu was simply like an exotic beast. Only the exotic beast itself would have such a thorough understanding of the exotic beast lairs, right? Even the location of the divine rune crystals was described in detail in Long Yu's jade slip. This was undoubtedly the most detailed exploration of the exotic beast lairs in history. Long Yu waited calmly. Finally, after the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Murong Xiuzhen slowly nodded and put away the jade slip. The mission information is very detailed, and the degree of completion is very high. Therefore, you can get some additional rewards. In addition to the original 5 million alliance points, you can get an additional 5 million alliance points. How about it? Okay. Long Yu nodded. He didn't care much about it. His indifferent appearance made Murong Xiuzhen quite surprised. Logically speaking, when the mission was confirmed to be completed in excess and rewarded with double alliance points, everyone should be ecstatic. However, why didn't Long Yu seem to be excited at all? Murong Xiuzhen soon knew why. This was because Long Yu's harvest from this trip was far more than that. He recorded all the information that the 5 Emperors Alliance did not know about the Winged God Clan's lifestyle, combat methods, reproduction methods, and other information that the 5 Emperors Alliance did not know about on a jade slip. He then handed the jade slip to Murong Xiuzhen. When Murong Xiuzhen decided to double the reward for Long Yu had some trust in him. He gave him the information of the Winged God race in order to get more alliance points. Chapter 822. The Alliance of 5 Emperors had been studying the Winged God race beasts for a long time. They had even captured many living individuals for research, but there were still many things that they couldn't understand. The conclusion of thousands of years of research was not even as detailed as what was recorded in Long Yu's jade slip. The contents of this jade slip wouldn't make it easy for cultivators to deal with the Winged God race beasts, but it could be used strategically and fundamentally to deal with the Winged God race beast. This information didn't affect the battle, but the strategy. It went without saying how important this information was to the Alliance of 5 Emperors. For example, this jade slip mentioned that although the winged god race could control all kinds of space divine runes, ice divine runes were their nemesis. Therefore, if the entire nest could be frozen, it could greatly limit the winged god race beast's fighting power. For example, there was a fragrance called millet flower in Shen Wu world that had a strong stimulating effect on the winged god race beast. It could even limit the power of the space divine runes in their bodies, making them only able to exert half of their strength. Another example was the architectural style of the winged god race's nest. There would be a weak point every 3 miles. If one attacked from this weak point, it would be easy to break the walls of the nest. If one could find more than 10 such weak points and destroy them all, the entire winged god race's nest would begin to disintegrate. Murong Xiuzhen looked at the contents of this jade slip and fell into deep thought. He knew very well what kind of changes it would bring to the alliance of 5 emperors if the contents of this jade slip were true. This meant that when fighting against the winged god race beasts, the alliance of 5 emperors would greatly reduce their losses. The value of this jade slip was absolutely immeasurable. However, this was a matter of great importance, so Murong Xiuzhen couldn't make an arbitrary decision. Little brother Long, how about this? Murong Xiuzhen thought for a while and could only say in a deep voice, if the information in this jade slip is true, its value is probably equivalent to 200 million alliance points. However, I can't make the decision for such a high amount. I can only give you 100 million first. The other 100 million will be given to you after all the information has been verified. How about it? When Long Yu heard this, he nodded. He knew that this information was very important, and he also knew that it was absolutely worth hundreds of millions. Murong Xiuzhen's reward of 200 million was fair. Moreover, he also knew that the other party wouldn't believe him immediately. So, to be able to get 100 million alliance points in one go was already pretty good. Sure, but I want to know, how many first-class divine rune crystals do the alliance of 5 emperors have in storage? I want to exchange all of the alliance points I obtain for first-class divine runic crystals. Elder Murong, is this request too much? Long Yu asked. In the storage of the alliance of 5 emperors, there haven't been many first-class divine rune crystals. Now there are only about 800 left. Murong Xiuzhen was a little surprised. You can exchange for everything, but you'll need over 80 million alliance points. Are you sure you want to exchange? So many first-rate divine rune crystals shouldn't be of much use to you. I need to repair an ancient inheritance weapon. I need 1,000 first-class divine rune crystals, so Long Yu directly stated his purpose. This was also what he said to the Red Emperor. Even if he didn't say it, Murong Xiuzhen would know after a little investigation, so there was no need to hide it. Understood. Murong Xiuzhen smiled slightly. Then, follow me. Now the alliance of 5 emperors has 850 first-class divine rune crystals left. It will cost you 85 million alliance points, so you still have 25 million alliance points left. Long Yu's reward for completing the task was 10 million alliance points. The reward for the information given in advance was 100 million alliance points. After deducting 85 million alliance points, there were indeed 25 million alliance points left. Of these 25 million, 3 million will be given to Yi Ziwei and 5 million to Tianxiang Emperor. I'll have to trouble Elder to help me. Long Yu said with a smile. Murong Xiuzhen nodded and then handed Long Yu an exclusive jade slip of the alliance of 5 emperors. I have already entered 17 million alliance points, which belong to you. I have already deducted Yi Ziwei and Tianxiang Emperor's task rewards. In addition, I will go and get the ancient dragon elephant bone that you mortgaged here last time. Long Yu nodded and took the exclusive jade slip of the alliance of 5 emperors. After checking it, he found that there was only one number, 17 million. Long Yu couldn't change the number in the jade slip by himself. He could only change it through the alliance of 5 emperors. Therefore, the exclusive jade slip of the alliance was used to record a relatively large number of alliance points. Long Yu waited in the luxurious room for a while. Soon, Murong Xiuzhen brought the things he needed. There were 850 first-class divine rune crystals of various attribute. However, for Long Yu, the attributes of the divine rune crystals didn't matter. With these first-class divine rune crystals, it meant that Long Yu could finally begin to repair the ancient dragon bone tower. In addition, there was also the ancient dragon elephant bone that he had mortgaged previously. Murong Xiuzhen also brought it over. Long Yu took the bone and checked it. When he found that there was no damage, he put it away. This task has been successfully completed. I wish you success in your cultivation. Murong Xiuzhen said to Long Yu with a smile and left the place with him. After completing the task handover, it was time for Long Yu to leave. He had finally obtained enough divine rune crystals. It was time to start the preliminary repair of the ancient dragon bone tower. When he returned to the mission hall, Long Yu saw Yi Ziwei talking to a young man in a blue shirt. He didn't plan to call her over. Anyway, her escort reward would be distributed by the Alliance of 5 Emperors. However, just as Long Yu was about to leave, Yi Ziwei and the young man noticed him. Yi Ziwei hurriedly called out to Long Yu. Long Yu, wait up. Yi Ziwei hurriedly ran over. It seemed that she had something to discuss with Long Yu. Long Yu wasn't in a hurry to leave. Instead, he frowned slightly and asked, "What's the matter?" "The Alliance of 5 Emperors will distribute your escort reward to you. I've already received 3 million alliance points for the escort reward. Now, there's something else." As Yi Ziwei spoke, she pointed to the young man in a blue shirt who had just spoken to her. "Let me introduce you. This is my 3rd senior brother, Ji Bai. He wants to buy your ancient dragon elephant skeleton. I wonder if you're willing to part with it?" Long Yu was a little surprised. Yi Ziwei's 3rd senior brother. In other words, the young man in a blue shirt was Lei Emperor's 3rd personal disciple. And this person actually wanted to buy the ancient dragon elephant skeleton from Long Yu. Long Yu originally wanted to use this thing to refine an ancient supreme elixir, the dragon elephant elixir, and consume it to strengthen his physical body. However, he hadn't found a powerful alchemist yet. If this Ji Bai offered a suitable price, Long Yu was still willing to sell it. "How much is he going to offer?" Long Yu asked. "You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be leaving first. Also, remember to call me when you're on a mission next time." Yi Ziwei smiled and turned to leave. Then, she called out to her 3rd senior brother and signaled for him to come over. Lei Emperor's 3rd personal disciple, Ji Bai, naturally had martial arts talent. However, his personality seemed to be a little arrogant. He glanced at Long Yu indifferently and walked over. Yi Ziwei left, leaving only Long Yu and Ji Bai. Ji Bai walked over and said directly, "I want to buy your ancient dragon elephant skeleton. How many alliance points do you want before you're willing to sell it?" 10 million. A fair price, Long Yu said with a smile. He didn't care about Ji Bai's arrogant attitude. After all, it was a deal. The other party's personality had nothing to do with him. It was fine as long as the deal was completed. 10 million was indeed the basic price of the ancient dragon elephant skeleton. Even if it was mortgaged to the Alliance of 5 Emperors, it could be mortgaged for 10 million alliance points. "I only have 1 million alliance points now," Ji Bai said indifferently. "Sell it to me for 1 million and I'll owe you a favor." 1 million is too low. Long Yu shook his head. As for Ji Bai's favor, what use was it? Long Yu didn't think that this guy could help him much. At least, Long Yu didn't think that this person's favor was worth 9 million alliance points. Don't misunderstand yourself. I'm already thinking highly of you with this condition. Ji Bai glanced at Long Yu and seemed a little unhappy. If ordinary people wanted to use 10 million to buy my favor, I might not even give them face. Long Yu looked at him and then laughed softly. Without saying a word, He formed a seal and disappeared from the mission hall. The other party was only willing to use 1,000,000 alliance points to buy the ancient dragon elephant skeleton. How could Long Yu be willing? To be honest, even if he sold it for 10,000,000, Long Yu would feel it was a pity. After all, this was a precious material that could be used to refine ancient supreme-grade pills. Moreover, Long Yu attached great importance to the strength of his body. That guy only offered 1,000,000. How could Long Yu agree to that? Did he lack this 1,000,000? Not at all. He had just obtained 100,000,000. The alliance of 5 emperors still owed him 100,000,000. Would he care about Ji Bai's 1,000,000 alliance points? What a joke! Seeing Long Yu's figure disappear, Ji Bai's handsome face suddenly became very ugly. He didn't think that this newcomer, Long Yu, would not give him, Ji Bai, any face. One should know that he was Lei Emperor's third direct disciple. Now that he was in the late stage of Emperor realm, his future was limitless. Even if Xing Fa saw him, he would call him Junior, unlike Long Yu who did not give him face. Humph, Long Yu, you are truly arrogant and conceited. I really want to see what kind of achievements you have. Ji Bai was infuriated. He thought of the strongest King Realm competition in 2 years. Didn't Long Yu just step into the King Path Mystic Realm? He wanted to see what kind of ranking Long Yu would get in the strongest King Realm competition. There will not be a place for you, Long Yu, in the strongest King Realm. Just like that, Ji Bai made up his mind. He was going to do something during the strongest King Realm competition to make things difficult for Long Yu. If Long Yu knew about this, he wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just how stupid was Ji Bai? Unfortunately, Long Yu didn't know about this, so he quickly threw this matter to the back of his mind. Even if someone tried to make things difficult for him, so what? In reality, the current Long Yu didn't care much about the strongest King Realm competition. Ever since he became the direct disciple of the Red Emperor, his vision had been broadened. The strongest King Realm was not his final goal. Chapter 8:23. Long Yu immediately prepared to repair the ancient Dragon Bone Tower after he returned to the Dragon Domain. The Red Emperor had given him 320 first-class divine rune crystals previously. Together with the 850 that Long Yu had exchanged for with the alliance points, he had finally reached the requirement of 1,000 for the initial repair of the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. However, Long Yu didn't know much about how to repair the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Therefore, he could only bring the items to the Azura Ancient Palace outside the holy city of the 5 emperors and ask the Envoy of Death about it. Qin Yashuang and Zi Su were cultivating in peace in the Dragon Domain. When Long Yu returned, the 2 girls came out to welcome him. When they saw Long Yu, they discovered that Long Yu had already reached the early stage of the King Realm, the same level as them. The 2 girls were shocked. It had only been a few days, but Long Yu had advanced from the 6 Realms Divinity realm to the early stage of the King Realm. Even though they had grown up in the holy city of the 5 emperors, the 2 girls had never heard of such a terrifying cultivation speed. I plan to bring some friends here in the near future. There won't be many, only about 7 or 8 people. We can make good use of the 10-star spiritual formations. I'll need your help then. Long Yu said to the 2 girls with a smile. Since they are Sir Long's friends, they are also our friends. Don't worry, Sir Long, the 2 girls said hurriedly. Thank you. Long Yu bid farewell to the 2 girls after saying this. He planned to repair the ancient Dragon Bone Tower first, then use the teleportation formation to return to the North Snow Empire. It had been a few months since he left the North Snow Empire. It was about time for him to go back and take a look. One teleportation cost 1,000,000, so a return trip would cost 2,000,000. Long Yu could easily afford it now. Moreover, with his current strength, defeating an ordinary initial Emperor Realm cultivator wouldn't be a problem. If he repaired the Dragon Bone Tower, no one below the level of a great Emperor would be able to break through its defenses. Soon, Long Yu disguised himself as a bug and left the sacred tower without anyone noticing. If not for this, Long Yu was sure that once he left the holy city of the 5 emperors, trouble would definitely follow. Within the Azura Ancient Palace, the Envoy of Death guarded the Azura Ancient Palace and his own Ancient Palace of Death alone, hiding in the sky several hundred miles away from the holy city of the 5 emperors. Even if it was the 5 emperors, if they didn't specifically explore this place, they wouldn't be able to find any traces. Long Yu returned to the Azura Ancient Palace and took out the 1,000 first-class divine rune crystals and the Dragon Bone Tower. He then asked the Envoy of Death, Senior Envoy, "How do I repair the Dragon Bone Tower?" "I will teach you a spell. This spell is similar to the one used to fuse the divine rune crystals into the buildings. They are similar, but there are still some differences. Remember it carefully." The shadow figure of the Envoy of Death kept flashing with images, showing Long Yu the method to cast the spell. Long Yu quickly mastered the spell and began to fuse the divine rune crystals into the Dragon Bone Tower. He had to fuse one divine rune crystal after another. When he had fused 1,000 divine rune crystals, the Dragon Bone Tower would naturally absorb their energy and be repaired into a supreme ancient rank weapon, on par with the Nether Void Dragon Blade. Fusing the divine rune crystals one by one, even though Long Yu had become very familiar with the spell after a while, it still took him an entire day. This made Long Yu think that if he had spent an entire day, wouldn't it take him 10 days to fuse 10,000 divine rune crystals into the Dragon Bone Tower? Of course, it was still too early for him to fuse 10,000 divine rune crystals. Long Yu still had a long way to go. He would think about the details when the time came. One day later, the entire Dragon Bone Tower glowed with a golden light. An ancient aura that seemed to originate from the primordial era was completely released. Many of the cracks on the surface of the tower were mended at a speed visible to the naked eye. The entire ancient tower became more complete, and the ancient aura around it became even denser. As Long Yu stood beneath the ancient pagoda, he could clearly feel how insignificant he was. An ancient top-ranked combat weapon. Long Yu's heart trembled. It was also a supreme ancient rank weapon, but the Void Nether Dragon Blade's special characteristics were that it was reserved and sinister, because it was an assassination weapon. However, the Dragon Bone Tower was completely different. This ancient tower exuded an ancient aura. Just by standing there, it was as if an ancient god had descended, intimidating everyone. Finally, it has some of the aura from back then. However, this aura is still far from its peak state. The Death Envoy clicked his tongue and said, "When you get 100,000 divine rune crystals, you will be able to experience what it means to have a weapon that surpasses the supreme ancient rank. That's still too far away for me. However, I have some good news for you." Long Yu recollected his thoughts and said to the Death Envoy, "According to the Alliance of 5 Emperors' mission, I found a total of 12 winged god race beast lairs. I will inform the Red Emperor later, and he will carry out the extermination plan. At that time, I will use a certain number of alliance points to exchange for a divine rune source stone for you." Not bad. With the information I gave you on the winged god race beasts, it will be at least 10 times easier to deal with the winged god race's lairs. You must have gotten quite a lot of benefits, right? The Death Envoy laughed wickedly. There are quite a lot of alliance points, but after exchanging them for so many divine rune crystals, I can only exchange them for a divine rune source stone. Long Yu shook his head and said, "The Alliance of 5 Emperors is too stingy." "Of course, but divine rune source stones are extremely precious and very important to me. If you can get a divine rune source stone, it will be even with the fallen dark star martial skill I taught you. If you can get 2 divine rune source stones, I can continue to teach you other ancient rank and even archaic rank martial skills." The Death Envoy said temptingly, "I have to be able to get them first." Long Yu shrugged. A divine rune source stone was the core of a beast's lair. It was not easy to get it. Of course, this time, the alliance of 5 emperors would launch an extermination operation against the winged god race beasts above the Dragon Return Empire. That was a total of 12 divine rune source stones. By then, Long Yu would have more than 100 million alliance points. No matter what, he could exchange for 3 or 4 divine rune source stones. Of course, there was no need to tell the Death Envoy about this. At least he could get more benefits from the Death Envoy. Speaking of martial skills, now that you have finally stepped into the King Path Secret Realm, it is time to continue cultivating the Death Realm. But before that, do you remember what this envoy said before? The Death Envoy asked. Of course I remember. Before I continue cultivating the Death Realm, I must find a pill to restore my spirit. Long Yu nodded and said, That's right. I'll tell you the location of the primordial ruins now. Go and find that pill yourself. There will be many other rewards on this trip. However, the primordial ruins are extremely dangerous. You must be careful. The Death Envoy continued. The location of the ancient ruins is in the direction of the North Snow Empire. However, it is in the territory of the Shunluo Empire. This jade slip records its specific location, as well as some information about the ancient ruins. Take it back and have a closer look. After you find the elixir that can recover your spirit, come back to me. I will continue to create the illusion of death for you to practice the Death Realm body refining technique. Okay. Long Yu pondered for a moment, then nodded. The Death Realm body refinement was a body refinement martial skill that greatly strengthened his body. Previously, he had only cultivated it to the initial realm, but it had already greatly improved his body's strength. Before he stepped into the King Realm, his body was already equivalent to a King Realm expert. Now that he had stepped into the King Realm, his body's strength was equivalent to an Emperor Realm cultivator. If the Death Realm body refinement could improve further, he would be invincible in the King Realm with just his body alone. The location of the ancient ruins was in the Shunluo Empire, which was close to the North Snow Empire. Long Yu just happened to be going back to the North Snow Empire. It didn't matter if he went to the Shunluo Empire, but he must be careful. Long Yu still remembered the series of things he had done in the Shunluo Empire. In the City of Desolate God, he had offended the general's auction house and the city lord's daughter, Situliuli. He had to be careful in this trip to the Shunluo Empire. Of course, with the Book of Shadows, no one would recognize him. However, he must be careful. If the people of the Shunluo Empire heard the news that he had returned to the North Snow Empire, they might take the initiative and come to the North Snow Empire to find him. This trip must be done in secret. Long Yu thought. After receiving the jade slip from the Envoy of Death, Long Yu left the Azura Ancient Palace once again. The next step was very clear. Long Yu had to return to the North Snow Empire and bring Man Xian, Qihua, and the others to the Sacred Tower. If Shu Chan was willing, she could also be brought over. The cultivation speed in the Sacred Tower's Star Soul formation was definitely many times faster than staying in the North Snow Empire. After that, Long Yu wouldn't come with them. He still had to make a trip to the Shunluo Empire to explore the ancient ruins and find elixirs that could restore one's spirit. This was to build a good foundation for him to continue cultivating the Death Realm. Before I act, I'll look for the Lin Merchant Firm and the Su Medicine Firm to buy some pills and exotic beast crystals. I'll try to step into the Midstage King Realm first. That way, I'll have more assurance when I act. After Long Yu made his decision, he returned to the sacred city of 5 emperors and headed towards another of the 3 big trading firms, the Alliance Trading Firm. Because he now had 17 million alliance points, but he did not have many Shinbi. Alliance points were not recognized when he traded outside. Therefore, he had to go to the Alliance Merchant Firm first and exchange the alliance points for Shinbi. The Alliance Merchant Firm, the Lin Merchant Firm, and the Sioux Medicine Firm were one of the 3 largest merchant firms in the holy city of the 5 emperors. They occupied the majority of the trade in the city. Of course, they had the most variety of goods. The 3 major merchant firms must have a lot of special crystals. 17 million is enough for me to step into the mid-stage king realm. With this thought in mind, Long Yu stepped into the magnificent hall of the Alliance merchant firm. In the holy city of the 5 emperors, Long Yu did not need to disguise himself. He directly appeared. This immediately attracted the attention of a large group of people in the Alliance merchant firm. Chapter 824. Long Yu didn't care about the others' gazes and walked straight to the counter of the Alliance's trading house. Young Master Long, welcome to the Alliance's trading house. How may I help you? A young man in a manager's uniform greeted Long Yu with a smile. Do you have special beast crystals for sale here? Long Yu nodded. He stood still and asked, I want some special beast crystals, and I also want to use alliance points to exchange for Shinbi. Your request is really special. The young man's face turned bitter. Our trading house does have special beast crystals, but we don't have much in stock. Most of them will be auctioned at the month's end auction. Of course, if you need special beast crystals of the Transcendent Realm, we can still give you some now. Transcendent Realm special beast crystals aren't very useful to me. Long Yu pondered for a moment. Then can you help me exchange them for Shinbi first? I have 15 million alliance points here. Can I exchange them for 15 million Shinbi? 15 million. The young man frowned. The amount is a bit large. It will take about 4 hours to prepare them for you. Do you have any other requests? Not for now. That's all. Long Yu shook his head. It was understandable that the Alliance's special beast crystals were auctioned. Long Yu wouldn't break the other party's rules. In any case, he had just broken through to the Immortal King realm. If he broke through again in a short time, it would be easy for his foundation to become unstable and affect his future cultivation. Since he didn't have them now, he could just wait for the next auction. Long Yu wasn't in a hurry. Now, he only needed 10 breaths of time to use any means, which was enough to deal with most situations. Not to mention, Long Yu still had a soul-sealing Yang restoration pill and 3 void boundary ghost pills. These were powerful pills to save his life at critical moment. That young man brought Long Yu to a VIP room to rest, then turned around and left to handle the matters of the Shinbi exchange. Shinbi was a physical object, not a string of virtual numbers. Therefore, it would take a lot of time to prepare 15 million Shinbi. While waiting, Long Yu continued to cultivate. Just a little bit more and he would be able to enter the transcendent state. The reason why he wasn't in a hurry to buy the special crystals and other ancient elixirs was that he hadn't reached the transcendent state yet. It would be a waste to buy them now. Right now, if he wanted to obtain cultivation resources, there were 2 main ways. One was to purchase from the 3 major trading companies, and the other was to exchange within the Alliance of 5 Emperors. The Alliance Trading Company and the Alliance of 5 Emperors were separated. Within the Alliance of 5 Emperors, Long Yu could exchange for some special crystals. However, the items within the Alliance of 5 Emperors were more expensive. For example, special crystals at the Emperor realm. Because they were rare, the starting price was 5 million alliance points. On the other hand, the 3 major trading companies would sell them for 3 to 4 million at most. The benefit of trading within the Alliance of 5 Emperors was that one could obtain things that couldn't be found in the outside world. For example, divine rune crystals, divine rune source stones, and so on. Even the direct disciples of the 5 Emperors preferred to purchase ordinary cultivation resources from the outside because they were cheap. Of course, the cultivation resources required by the direct disciples of the 5 Emperors were very difficult to purchase in the outside world. Even if they could, they would have to wait until the end of the month auction held by the 3 major trading companies. If they couldn't wait, they would have to pay a higher price and buy them from within the Alliance of 5 Emperors. 4 hours later, the young man from the Alliance Trading Company brought 15 million Shinbi to Long Yu. After he checked the amount, the transaction was completed. Long Yu put away the Shinbi and left the VIP room. Just as he was about to leave the Alliance Trading Company, a young man walked towards him. It was Lei Emperor's third direct disciple, Ji Bai. What is he doing here? Long Yu's heart stirred, but he didn't think too much about it. This person was also Lei Emperor's direct disciple. It wasn't a big deal for him to come to the Alliance Trading Company. Right now, Long Yu couldn't be bothered to deal with the other party. He didn't want to meet him, so he changed direction and wanted to leave. However, Ji Bai was still quite unhappy with Long Yu, who asked him to not sell the ancient dragon elephant bone to him for 1 million. Junior apprentice brother Long, I didn't think we would meet again so soon. Ji Bai directly walked towards Long Yu, blocking his path with a fake smile. If you still want to use 1 million to buy my ancient dragon elephant bone, I don't think there's anything to talk about. Long Yu stood still and said lightly, Haha, do you really think that I must buy your garbage? Ji Bai said disdainfully, only you would treat that thing as a treasure. But it doesn't matter. I guess you haven't seen what a real treasure is. After saying this, Ji Bai seemed to have found a sense of superiority. He strode towards the counter of the Alliance Trading Company and said, Call your chief steward here. I heard that the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor sold an ancient supreme-grade medicinal pill, the Heavenly Prison Thunder Pill. Is this true? When the ordinary stewards of the Alliance Trading Company saw that it was Ji Bai, they immediately called the chief steward over. The chief steward was an old man at the peak of the Emperor realm. To be in charge of the Alliance Trading Company, his strength and prestige were naturally not ordinary. So it's young Master Ji Bai. What brings you here? The old steward greeted with a smile. Is the Heavenly Prison Thunder Pill that the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor sold in the Alliance still there? Ji Bai asked straightforwardly. Of course it's still there. It's an ancient supreme-grade medicinal pill that can enhance one's compatibility with lightning attribute divine runes. It's extremely effective. The Alliance is planning to auction it at the next month's end auction. The old steward nodded and said, If young Master Ji Bai wants to buy this medicinal pill, you should come back at the end of the month's end auction. Isn't the Alliance's purpose of auctioning medicinal pills to earn more Shinbi? Ji Bai said indifferently, I'll buy the Heavenly Prison Thunder Pill for 10 million Shinbi. How about it? If you really want to buy it at a fixed price, it'll be at least 30 million Shinbi. Not a single cent less. The old steward chuckled, not giving Ji Bai any face. If it's put up for auction, many cultivators who comprehend lightning attribute divine runes will be very interested. It can be sold for at least 20 million Shinbi, maybe even 30 million. Ji Bai's face darkened. I only have 18 million Shinbi. I'll use this to trade for it first, and then I'll owe Senior a favor. How about it? If Senior doesn't agree, I'll have to ask my master to come talk to you. What's the use of owing me a favor? The old steward shook his head. Even if His Excellency Lei Emperor comes in person, he won't force this old man to make a losing deal. Young Master Ji Bai, please go ahead. This conversation fell into Long Yu's ears, causing Long Yu to worry about Ji Bai's intelligence. A fellow like this was Lei Emperor's third direct disciple. Wasn't this a little too embarrassing for His Excellency Lei Emperor? Long Yu recalled that when the 5 emperors came to present their gifts, this Ji Bai didn't come with Lei Emperor. If this fellow had been there, wouldn't something unpleasant have happened? But from this, Long Yu finally knew why this fellow was against him. It was because of Yi Ziwei. Although Lei Emperor had betrothed Yi Ziwei to Long Yu half-jokingly, it was said in front of the 5 emperors. To put it simply, as long as Yi Ziwei and Long Yu didn't object, this matter would basically be considered a success. Long Yu noticed that when Ji Bai was talking to Yi Ziwei, his eyes were full of admiration. Obviously, he really liked this junior sister of his. Now, His junior sister was betrothed to someone else by his master. It was completely normal for Ji Bai to feel a little unbalanced in his heart. However, what Long Yu thought about the most now wasn't about Ji Bai, but the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor that Ji Bai mentioned. What was the relationship between the heavenly prison Thunder Pool and the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor? What did he have to do with Lei Emperor? Long Yu still remembered that the father of this body, Long Zitian, had charged into the heavenly prison lightning pool 20 years ago. Not long ago, the heavenly prison lightning pool had exploded, and an Emperor Realm expert had rushed out like a bolt of lightning. Could the Emperor Realm expert that Yu Hanshin mentioned be this heavenly prison Thunder Emperor? Long Yu's heartbeat quickened. He hadn't been able to find Long Zitian after searching for so long. Could this heavenly prison Thunder Emperor be Long Zitian? Thinking of this, Long Yu stepped in the direction where Ji Bai and the old steward were. Junior Long Yu greets senior steward. Long Yu stepped forward and cupped his fists in greeting. What do you want again? The old steward glanced at Long Yu. Of course, he knew that Long Yu had exchanged 15 million Shinbi just now. However, could this kid be here for the heavenly prison Thunder Pill like Ji Bai? Junior would like to ask about the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor. How much do you know about this person, senior steward? Long Yu asked respectfully. Oh? You're interested in the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor? The old steward was quite surprised. He thought that Long Yu was like Ji Bai, taking advantage of his identity as the personal disciple of the 5 emperors to take advantage of the situation. Long Yu didn't answer directly. Instead, he glanced at Ji Bai and said hesitantly, Senior Steward, can I have a word with you? Information about the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor is very important to me. Then come with me. The old steward nodded and turned to leave. He had actually agreed to Long Yu's request. After all, Long Yu was the personal disciple of the Red Emperor. As long as it didn't involve his own interests, the old steward was willing to give him face. However, the old steward would not give Ji Bai any face at all when he was here purely to take advantage of the situation. Watching Long Yu leave with the old steward, Ji Bai was completely dumbfounded. He didn't expect that an ancient supreme-grade heavenly prison Thunder Pill would be so expensive. It was so expensive that he couldn't afford it even if he sold all his assets. Moreover, he didn't expect that Long Yu was also interested in the heavenly prison Thunder Emperor. Could it be that this kid also wants to get the heavenly prison Thunder Pill and give it to junior sister Yi? Chapter 825. Soon, Long Yu walked out of the Alliance Trading Company with no change in expression on his face. From the elder in charge of the Alliance Trading Company, he learned that the Heavenly Thunder Emperor's name was not Long Zitian. Moreover, the Heavenly Thunder Emperor had been famous for hundreds of years and could not be Long Yu's father. However, the elder in charge of the Alliance Trading Company suggested that if Long Yu wanted to find his father who had entered the Heavenly Thunder Pool, he had to ask the Heavenly Thunder Emperor. However, this person was not in the holy city of the 5 emperors recently and was wandering outside. No one knew where he was recently. The elder in charge said that if the Heavenly Thunder Emperor appeared in the holy city of the 5 emperors, he would inform Long Yu. For this, Long Yu naturally expressed his gratitude. It's time to go to the Lin Trading Company. Long Yu thought to himself as he walked in the direction of the Lin Trading Company. Not far from the Lin Trading Company, Long Yu saw a familiar person coming out from the entrance of the Lin Trading Company. It was a Peak Emperor Realm expert in a light yellow dress, the elder of the Alliance of 5 Emperors, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Beside the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, there was a young man in a gray robe. Long Yu had seen this person before. It was Lin Ruizai's distant nephew, Lin Feiyang. He said that he had brought the Alliance of 5 Emperors to be apprenticed to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Long Yu. Of course, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor also saw Long Yu. She suddenly smiled sweetly and walked over, waving to Long Yu. What a coincidence, I was just about to look for you. Me too. Long Yu smiled slightly. Lord Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, I wonder if you can deduce who sent people from the Shadow Pavilion to assassinate me? A lot of deduction information has been blocked. Even I can't deduce it. However, to be able to block my deduction, the person who did it must be stronger than me. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor lowered his voice and said, The Taiwu Abyss does not have that kind of strength. Even in the entire Taiwu Empire, there is no such expert. I understand. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat and he nodded. In that case, was it really not the Taiwu Empire who wanted to kill him? In this case, it couldn't be the Gongsun clan. Who was it that sent the entire Dark Shadow Pavilion to assassinate Long Yu? Long Yu fell into deep thought. However, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor was obviously not here to watch Long Yu ponder. Oh right. This is for you. The things inside are half of the assets of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. I promise to give it to you. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor threw a spatial ring to Long Yu. Long Yu subconsciously stretched out his hand and caught it. His consciousness probed into it, and he discovered that there was actually a huge amount of cultivation resources stored inside. From various grades of pills, to various grades of weapons, to all kinds of martial skill jade slips, there was everything. Among them, the most precious ones were only great desolate grade pills, great desolate grade combat weapons, great desolate grade martial skills, etc. Although they weren't worth much individually, there were a lot of them. If all of them were added up, it would be worth at least 40 to 50 million shinbi. An assassin's organization naturally had a lot of asset. However, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor was willing to give half of it to Long Yu. This showed that he thought highly of Long Yu. Thank you, my lord. Long Yu put away the spatial ring and smiled slightly. He wouldn't exchange these things for money because it was too troublesome. After all, there were thousands of pills, weapons, and martial skills. Therefore, Long Yu planned to bring these things back to the Heavenly Mandate Manor or Azura Manor. They would become cultivation resources for everyone. In any case, cultivation resources were necessary for the Heavenly Mandate Manor. Instead of buying them with money, it would be better to give them these ready-made resources. It would also save the tedious process of selling and buying. The total value of these resources was as high as 40 to 50 million shinbi. Even for Yu Hanshin, it was an extremely huge asset, let alone for the Heavenly Mandate Manor. Long Yu could foresee that with such a large number of cultivation resources, the cultivation speed of the people in the Heavenly Mandate Manor and Azura Manor would become even faster. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor wanted to find Long Yu because she wanted to give these cultivation resources to him. This was what she had promised him. Long Yu wanted to find the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor because he wanted to ask about the employer of the Dark Shadow Pavilion. Unfortunately, he didn't get any accurate information. Since the two of them had finished their business, it was time for them to leave. However, at this moment, the young man behind the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, Lin Feiyang, suddenly spoke. Even if you are Long Yu, your cultivation is only at the early stage of the King Realm. Lin Feiyang's eyes flashed with dissatisfaction. If I had the opportunity to step into the illusion realm of the 5 emperors, I might not be any worse than you. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor and said with hatred, Master, I want to challenge Long Yu. Long Yu looked at the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor with great interest. He wanted to know how the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor would discipline his new disciple. However, to his surprise, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor just smiled and said, Then go ahead and challenge him. After getting the approval of the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, Lin Feiyang suddenly became excited. With jealousy and envy in his eyes, he said to Long Yu, I want to challenge you. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt a pain in his arm. He looked down subconsciously and saw that one of his arms had been cut off by a flying dagger. It fell to the ground, dripping with blood. Ah! Lin Feiyang suddenly screamed in pain. An arm is a lesson for you. Long Yu said calmly. Your master is the heavenly fragrance emperor. It is not difficult for him to restore your arm. However, this should teach you something and let you know that you should not be too arrogant. Lin Feiyang was crippled with just one move of space penetration. For Long Yu, Lin Feiyang, who was only at the initial stage of the King Realm, was not qualified to be his opponent. Not long ago, he had killed Gongsun Jiaxing, the young master of the Gongsun family, who was at the initial stage of the King Realm, with 2 moves. Now that his strength had increased greatly, he would not even need 1 move to kill Lin Feiyang. Challenge? That was purely a waste of Long Yu's time. Since the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor hoped that Long Yu would teach Lin Feiyang a lesson, then Long Yu would do it a little. This should be a big lesson for Lin Feiyang. After making his move, Long Yu withdrew the Nether Dragon Dagger. After bidding farewell to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor, he strode toward the Lin business. Of course, the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor would not blame Long Yu. In fact, this was exactly what she wanted Long Yu to do. Although she had accepted Lin Feiyang as her disciple, she did not want to see an unruly disciple who did not know his place. That was why she had asked Long Yu to teach Lin Feiyang a lesson. However, she had not expected Long Yu to be so decisive. Let's go. Return with me. The Heavenly Fragrance Emperor smiled as she watched Long Yu's departing figure. Then, she raised her hand and led Lin Feiyang toward the sacred tower in the holy city of the 5 emperors. Long Yu met Lin Ruizai at the Lin business. He spent 7 million divine coins to buy 2 special Emperor Realm crystals. However, he was still a long way from entering the mid-stage of the King Realm. 1 special Emperor Realm crystal could increase the range of Long Yu's inner world by 5 kilometers. Now that he had 2 of them, he could increase the range by 10 kilometers. He was still 10 kilometers away from 50 kilometers. However, the Lin business only had these 2 special Emperor Realm crystals. Long Yu could not force them. Lin Ruizai had seen how Long Yu had taught Lin Feiyang a lesson. However, he did not say anything. In fact, he even thanked Long Yu. After arriving at the holy city of the 5 emperors, not only did Lin Feiyang not restrain himself, he became even more arrogant. He did not even show the slightest bit of respect to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Lin Ruizai was looking for someone to teach Lin Feiyang a lesson when Long Yu appeared. To Lin Ruizai, Lin Feiyang was a troublesome matter. Fortunately, he had handed him over to the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor. Given the Heavenly Fragrance Emperor's personality, she would definitely teach Lin Feiyang well and guide him onto the right path. Long Yu left the Lin business and headed for the Su Medicine Hall. He met the witch, Su Ningguang. Long Yu had never had a good impression of this woman. When he was still pretending to be Wang Tai, Su Ningguang had even wanted to kill Wang Tai. Perhaps Su Ningguang didn't know, but Long Yu had remembered it. Of course, Long Yu would not show his dissatisfaction now that he was going to trade with the Su Medicine Hall. Our Su family medicine hall doesn't have Emperor Realm special crystals, but we do have many ancient rank pills. In fact, we even have upper rank ancient rank pills that contain 2 to 3 times more spirit energy than Emperor Realm special crystals. Su Ning expressed a warm welcome to Long Yu's arrival, and directly took out an ancient high-grade pill. How much? Long Yu asked. The original price is at least 8 million. I'll take 5 million. Su Ningguang said with a smile. Deal. Long Yu knew that Su Ningguang had lowered the price because he was the Red Emperor's personal disciple. She wanted to gain his favor. Unfortunately, Long Yu did not have a good impression of Su Ningguang. After the trade, Long Yu was only left with 3 million Shinbi and 2 million alliance points. This amount of wealth would be considered quite rich for an ordinary person, but for Long Yu, it made him a pauper again. One had to know that he had obtained 100 million alliance points back then. However, spending these alliance points had brought him a considerable amount of reward. First, he had repaired the ancient dragon bone pagoda and turned it into a top ancient rank combat weapon, on the same level as the Netherworld Dragon Blade. Moreover, since the ancient dragon bone pagoda was a defensive type combat weapon, its defensive capabilities were extremely strong. After activating the 9 Nether Heavenly Screen, it could even withstand the attacks of any Emperor Realm expert. Of course, the 9 Nether Heavenly Screen could only be used 5 times a day, but it had already greatly increased Long Yu's survivability. With the help of the Red Emperor's Cloak, even an Emperor Realm expert would not be able to defeat Long Yu in one go. Long Yu was about to bid farewell to Su Ningguang, but Su Ningguang smiled and said with interest, "Long Yu, perhaps I should call you the impersonator?" "What do you mean?" Long Yu's heart skipped a beat, but his expression remained unchanged as he asked indifferently, "Wang Tai Qin Yashuang." Chapter 826. Hearing Su Ningguang's words, Long Yu was startled, but on the surface he smiled. "So you saw through it. However, I've never heard that the Su Medicine Hall has a relationship with the glorious Sun Inn." Of course, Long Yu didn't say this without reason. He disguised himself as the middle-aged Wang Tai and disguised himself as Qin Yishuang to participate in the Su Medicine Hall's auction. From start to finish, the only flaw was the glorious Sun Inn. Qin Yishuang stayed at the glorious Sun Inn and didn't leave. However, after Long Yu participated in the Su Medicine Hall's auction, he also returned to the glorious Sun Inn as Qin Yishuang. In other words, only the people of the glorious Sun Inn could come to this conclusion. However, Long Yu wasn't afraid that Su Ningguang would leak this information. At most, she wanted to use this to threaten Long Yu. Unfortunately, how could Long Yu be threatened by others? "We don't have any relationship with the glorious Sun Inn," Su Ningguang said faintly. "If we don't have any relationship, then the reputation of the glorious Sun Inn has nothing to do with you." Long Yu narrowed his eyes. "It seems that if I plan to leak the secret of the glorious Sun Inn and ruin the reputation of the glorious Sun Inn, then it has nothing to do with you. Goodbye." After saying this, Long Yu turned around and left. How did Su Ningguang discover that Wang Tai and Qin Yishuang were disguised by Long Yu? There was only one possibility, and that was the glorious Sun Inn leaking the secret. As for saying that this was just Su Ningguang's guess, that was even more impossible. If it was just a guess, why would she say it and use it as a tool to threaten Long Yu? Long Yu would use the reputation of the glorious Sun Inn to threaten Su Ningguang. Although Su Ningguang denied her relationship with the glorious Sun Inn, Long Yu didn't care. Even if she made a mistake, it wouldn't affect Long Yu. Seeing Long Yu turn around and leave, Su Ningguang couldn't help but bitterly laugh. "Young Master Long, I'll compromise. I definitely won't tell anyone about what I said just now. I hope you will do the same." "As you wish." Long Yu didn't even turn his head. He just smiled and left the Su Medicine Hall. Sure enough, the Su Medicine Hall and the glorious Sun Inn were related. Long Yu had deduced this and used it to threaten Su Ningguang. Otherwise, if Su Ningguang revealed the secret that Long Yu could disguise himself as someone else, it might not be fatal to Long Yu, but it would be very troublesome. The confrontation between Long Yu and Su Ningguang this time was extremely short, but Su Ningguang didn't dare to underestimate Long Yu anymore. After leaving the Su Medicine Hall, Long Yu packed his things and prepared to teleport to the North Snow Empire to visit the people in the Heavenly Mandate Manor. His final destination was the ancient relic mentioned by the Death Envoy in the Shenluo Empire, which was the neighbor of the North Snow Empire. Originally, Long Yu wanted to explain the situation over there to the Red Emperor, but before the Red Emperor came back, he directly wrote down the information about the winged god race exotic beasts, the best way to deal with the 12 nests of the winged god race, and his own requirements in a jade slip. He gave it to Qin Yashuang and asked her to give it to the Red Emperor when he came back. Qin Yashuang naturally listened to Long Yu's instructions. Long Yu came up with a plan for the extermination of the 12 nests of the winged god race. Under the guidance of the Death Envoy, he came up with a wonderful way to minimize the losses of the alliance of 5 emperors. As for Long Yu's request, he needed to use the next 100 million alliance points to exchange for 3 divine source stones. This request wasn't too much. He believed that the Red Emperor would agree. After arranging all this, Long Yu directly paid the remaining 2 million alliance points and added 1 million Shinbi. He chose to teleport to the North Snow Empire on the teleportation formation level of the Sacred Tower. He also exchanged for the space attribute exotic beast crystals needed to teleport to the North Snow Empire twice. The power consumed by the teleportation formation came from the exotic beast crystals of the space attribute. Every exotic beast of the winged god race had one. Long Yu used 2 million Shinbi to directly purchase tens of thousands of exotic beast crystals of different levels of the space attribute for him to use when he returned to the North Snow Empire. The reason why he spent a total of 3 million Shinbi was that he needed to teleport himself back to the North Snow Empire once. He also needed to select other people from the Heavenly Mandate Manor to come to the Holy City of the 5 Emperors. They would live in the Dragon Domain and cultivate rapidly in the Star Spiritual Formation. To return to the Holy City of the 5 Emperors from the North Snow Empire, they needed to be divided into 2 batches. The others would come first, and Long Yu would first go to the ancient relic and successfully obtain what he needed before returning. The teleportation fee of 3 million Shinbi was almost unimaginable for ordinary people. But for Long Yu, it was within an acceptable range. After paying, not only did Long Yu get a chance to teleport to the North Snow Empire, but he also received 10,000 exotic beast crystals of the space attribute. He had to use the power in these exotic beast crystals himself to activate the teleportation formation and return from the North Snow Empire to the Holy City of the 5 Emperors. North Snow Empire, North Snow Empire. Long Yu's figure appeared in the depths of the North Snow Imperial Palace, which he had never been to before. The place where the teleportation formation was built was, of course, the most heavily guarded place. Long Yu soon saw Yu Hanxin's mother. She still looked very young and beautiful, but her eyebrows were full of sorrow. It could be seen that this woman was expecting someone else to appear when the teleportation formation lit up. Unfortunately, the one who appeared was Long Yu, which made her very disappointed. Long Yu knew that Yu Hanxin's father was the founder of the North Snow Empire, and belonged to the Ice Phoenix clan. Unfortunately, Yu Hanxin's father died, and her mother handed everything over to Yu Hanxin to manage. As for herself, she did not care about the affairs of the world. Now, Yu Hanxin's mother naturally hoped to see Yu Hanxin. Unfortunately, Yu Hanxin did not come back. The one who came back was Long Yu. I saw Miss Yu in the Holy City of the 5 Emperors. She is fine. Please rest assured, Senior. Long Yu said to Yu Hanxin's mother. Yu Hanxin's mother nodded and said, "Thank you, please." Under the escort of many North Snow Empire's demon cultivators, Long Yu left the North Snow Imperial Palace and came to the streets of the North Snow Imperial City that he had not seen for a long time. Before leaving the palace, he had disguised himself as Qin Yashuang. A woman in white walked on the streets of the North Snow Imperial City. Her destination was the Azura Manor. No one knew that Long Yu had secretly returned to the North Snow Empire. When Long Yu disguised himself as Qin Yashuang and arrived near the Azura Manor, he found that the atmosphere of the entire Azura Manor had become quite strange. The doors were closed and no one came out. Long Yu furrowed his brows and knocked on the door. Soon, someone came to open the door. The person who opened the door was one of General Hua Yuanbai's subordinate. He had already stepped into the Imperial Path Mystic Realm. The divine ability Mystic Realm Kid in the past was now an early-stage King Realm expert. When there were enough cultivation resources, the cultivation speed of the elites under Hui Yuanbai's command was not slow. I am Lord Long Yu's maid. This is Lord Long Yu's identity card. He told me that you might need help here, so he sent me over to take a look. Long Yu disguised himself as Qin Yashuang and said to the person directly. The person was skeptical. Wait a moment, I will ask the general to come over. He couldn't make the decision himself, so he could only ask Hui Yuanbai to come over. Soon, the old General Hui Yuanbai appeared in front of Long Yu. He looked at Long Yu carefully and waved his hand. Come in. We have indeed encountered some trouble. However, if it is only you, I am afraid you will not be able to solve it. As Long Yu followed him into the Azura Manor, he asked, What trouble did Azura Manor encounter? Not long ago, a small team recruited by Azura Manor was killed in the North Snow Imperial City. We have confirmed the identity of the killer. It must be the remnants of the Long Manor and Falling Moon Manor. Without a doubt, their manor lord and most of their forces were annihilated while chasing after Long Yu. That is why they are seeking revenge on Azura Manor. Hui Yuanbai explained, May I know if you have any way to solve this problem? Long Yu frowned. What about the law enforcers in the city? The current law enforcers are still led by the Silver Fox King. The Silver Fox Manor was disbanded by Lord Yu Hanshin because of Long Yu. Do you think the Silver Fox King will help us deal with this matter? Hui Yuanbai shook his head and sighed. I see. It seems like without Lord Yu Hanshin around, the people of the North Snow Empire are not obedient. Long Yu narrowed his eyes. Lord Yu Hanshin? Hui Yuanbai felt a little strange. Why would this woman, the so-called maid of Long Yu, address her in such a way? Lord Yu Hanshin is the Red Emperor's personal disciple. Of course I have to address her as Lord. Long Yu smiled casually. In his heart, he was thinking that he should address Yu Hanshin as senior sister instead. Of course, no one in the entire North Snow Empire knew that Long Yu had also become the Red Emperor's personal disciple. Oh right, what is the cultivation realm of the strongest expert of the Long Manor and Falling Moon Manor? Long Yu asked. Since he was here, he naturally had to solve the problem for Azura Manor. Otherwise, how could the people of Azura Manor cultivate and become stronger? Emperor Realm. Hui Yuanbai thought for a moment before replying. The main forces of Long Manor and Moonfall Manor have been destroyed. In fact, these two manors exist only in name. The strongest is the Manor Lord of Moonfall Manor, who is rumored to be in Mid-Emperor Realm. Long Yao and Long Zhang's uncles are also in early Emperor Realm. They should be the only two Emperor Realm cultivators left. Does Azura Manor not have a single Emperor Realm expert after so many years of development? Long Yu asked. No, there are some Emperor Realm cultivators who wanted to join us, but the strongest among us is only a Mid-King Realm cultivator. We were afraid that we wouldn't be able to suppress them, so we refused to let them in. Hui Yuanbai said regretfully. All right, is Lord Shu-chan here? I'll discuss it with her. Since I'm here, I'll help you solve all your problems. Long Yu asked. You can help us? Hui Yuanbai's eyes widened as he sized up Long Yu. She's just an early King Realm lass. How can she handle two Emperor Realm experts? Don't worry, there won't be a problem. Long Yu smiled faintly, but killing intent continued to gather in his heart. The Long Manor and Falling Moon Manor were still targeting his people. They were courting death. So what if they were Emperor Realm experts? Although the young lord of the Dark Shadow Pavilion was only a late King Realm cultivator, it was a piece of cake for him to assassinate an early or even mid-Emperor Realm expert. Chapter 827 North Snow Royal City. From the back door of the Azura Manor, a group of martial cultivators sneaked out sneakily. These were the members of the Azura Manor, and their leader was a one-star general. At this time, he had already stepped into the early king realm. He led 4 young men from the Azura Manor who were at the transcendent secret realm, leaving the Azura Manor through a small path, heading straight for a trading center in the city. One of them was none other than Long Yu. However, the current Long Yu was a young woman clad in white robes. She followed Jiang Yixing out of the Azura Manor, acting very sneakily. This was Long Yu's first plan, to lure the snake out of its hole. Since those people dared to make a move in the North Snow Royal City, the appearance of Jiang Yixing's group would definitely attract their attention, right? Long Yu couldn't be bothered to find the gathering place of those people. She would just kill them and be done with it. Jiang Yixing led the group on a small path, as if to prevent others from following them, but in fact, he was luring the enemy out. Only by walking on a small path with fewer people would it be easier to deal with this kind of problem. However, Jiang Yixing and the others were skeptical about whether Long Yu's maid could solve this problem. With regards to the surviving members of the Dragon Manor and Falling Moon Manor who had tried to assassinate the members of the Azura Manor, Jiang Yixing and the others naturally hated her to the core. Now that maid Long Yu had come to help them, they naturally had to believe her. For this reason, Jiang Yixing personally took action. After walking for a long distance, nothing out of the ordinary happened, causing them to wonder if the people of the Long Manor and Falling Moon Manor did not notice them. However, very quickly Long Yu felt that something was amiss. "Stop, we're surrounded." In a small alley, Long Yu's maid raised her hand and said softly. Jiang Yixing and the others immediately stopped in their tracks. At this time, from all 4 directions of the alley, as well as in the sky, a total of 10 powerful martial cultivators appeared and surrounded them. "Jie, I didn't expect you to show yourselves. How reckless!" One of the middle-aged men leading the group stuck out his tongue and licked his lip. With a sinister smile, he said, "People of the Azura Manor, since you've offended our Long Manor, just wait for your death. Even if our Long Mansion only has a little bit of power left, it's still enough to destroy you." A total of 12 martial cultivators from the Dragon House moved out together, surrounding Jiang Yixing, Long Yu, and the others, and completely sealing off the space around them. There was actually someone who comprehended spatial divine runes among them. However, to Long Yu's disappointment, the strongest amongst the 12 Dragon Mansion martial cultivators were only at the advanced stage of the King Realm, and there were no Emperor Realm experts amongst them. "Who are you?" Maid Long Yu raised her head and looked at the middle-aged man with a sinister smile. "The captain of the Long Mansion's guards, Long Zhua." The middle-aged man with a sinister smile said contemptuously, "Seeing that you're about to die, I'll tell you my name. Now die." As soon as he finished speaking, Long Zhua raised his hand. His entire body shone with a golden light, and a wave of light attribute divine runes condensed into a whirlwind, whistling towards the group. Jiang Yixing and the others' expressions changed when they saw this. This was an opponent at the advanced stage of the King Realm, Long Zhua, and he seemed to be extremely powerful. If the maid of Long Yu did not have any good ideas, then they would all have to die here. Fallen Dark Star. Long Yu raised his hand and fallen dark stars appeared one after another around his body. There were only 3 fallen dark stars, but they linked together to form a starry wall, firmly blocking the light attribute whirlwind released by Long Zhua. More fallen dark stars flew in all directions, and in a breath's time, they exploded. Star explosion. The mighty power of the ancient transcendent rank martial art directly blew the 11 Long clan disciples, who were about to launch an attack apart from Long Zhua, into pieces. Among the 11 Long family disciples, there was no lack of experts at the mid-stage of the King Realm, but they were all defeated by a single move from Long Yu, dying without a burial place. "The reason I kept you alive isn't because I can't kill you, but because I want you to lead the way." Long Yu spoke indifferently, and then a skeletal arm appeared out of thin air and directly grabbed Long Zhua. So long as Long Yu willed it, he could immediately crush Long Zhua. The 12 members of the Long family besieged him, but Long Yu broke through their siege in an instant, killed 11 of them, and even restrained the last captain, Long Zhua. This scene happened too quickly, and Jiang Yixing and the others didn't even have the time to react before the situation had completely turned around. She's so powerful. Jiang Yixing looked at Maid Long Yu, and little stars appeared in his eyes. This is like a goddess that descended from the heavens. On the surface, she looks to be at the initial stage of the King realm, but she's restrained Long Zhua, who's at the advanced stage of the King realm, as soon as she attacked. It seemed as if the advanced stage of the King realm was nothing to Maid Long Yu. In comparison, even if Long Yu came back personally, he probably wouldn't be able to do this, right? Jiang Yixing and the others immediately thought. Unfortunately, they didn't know that the Maid Long Yu in front of them was Long Yu himself in disguise. The reason why Long Yu wanted to disguise himself was because he now knew that the Emperor Realm experts could deduce his location. If the Emperor Realm experts of the Shunluo Empire or the Cloud Empire deduced that he was here, it would be troublesome. Cough. Cough. Long Zhua's entire body was tightly gripped by the skeletal arm, and even breathing became extremely difficult. His eyes were filled with fear. He never thought that the woman in the initial stage of the King realm in front of him would be so powerful. The situation changed in an instant, and Long Zhua couldn't think straight for a moment. Now, he only wanted to know who this woman in white was. Take me to the gathering place of the Long family. Isn't the Crown Prince Long Yao's uncle there? Take me to see him. Long Yu said coldly, and with a thought, the skeletal arm exerted more force, almost crushing Long Zhua. I'll take you there, I'll take you there. Long Zhua couldn't take it anymore and immediately begged for mercy. Only then did Long Yu slightly loosen the skeletal arm, causing it to dissipate in midair. He wasn't afraid that Long Zhua would escape. Since he could catch him once, Long Yu could catch him again. Lady Qin, could it be that the technique you used just now was taught to you by Long Yu? I remember that the skeletal technique seemed to be one of Long Yu's innate theurgy. Jiang Yixing looked at the maid of Long Yu and said with some surprise, I'll tell you in detail when we get back. Now you guys go back first. I'll kill all the people of the Long family before coming back. Long Yu smiled, and directly forced Long Zhua to lead the way. Soon, they left the alley. In the Long family residence in the city. Long Yu didn't expect that the people of the Long family would still stay in the Long family residence. But this was also good. It would make it convenient for Long Yu to attack the root of the problem and kill all of them in one go. Haha. You're too arrogant. No matter how our Long family has declined, we still have Emperor Realm experts. You actually dared to attack us. You're dead, you're dead. Long Zhua, who was originally leading the way, directly laughed crazily. He wanted to use the divine rune of space to instantly escape. Unfortunately, before his figure could disappear, a pitch-black sharp blade directly slashed across his neck. Long Yu directly attached the divine rune of 9 nether on the nether dragon blade and killed Long Zhua in one go. Even the physical body of a late-stage King Realm martial cultivator couldn't withstand the current attack of Long Yu. Because he was also in the early-stage King Realm now, it couldn't be compared to when he was in the Divine Secret Realm. If he were to face the so-called geniuses of the late-stage King Realm like the Silver Fox King and Jing Tianxing, it would definitely be extremely easy. After killing Long Zhua, a furious shout sounded in the Long family residence. Who dares to behave atrociously in my Long family residence? Do you really think that there's no one in my Long family residence? Following this shout, a series of martial cultivators of the Long family residence rose into the air from the Long family residence. From front to back, they quickly surrounded Long Yu. The person in the lead was an Emperor Realm expert with an unshaven beard. He looked like a middle-aged man, but in reality, he was a middle-aged dragon demon. This person's name was Long Yanghua, and he was the younger brother of the Long family residence's patriarch. He was the uncle of Crown Prince Long Yao. After the patriarch and the others died, Long Yanghua naturally became the patriarch of the Long family residence. Are all the remnants of the Long family residence here? If that's the case, die. Long Yu glanced around. There were hundreds of people surrounding him, and all of them gathered within a radius of 300 meters. All of them were eager to kill Long Yu. However, Long Yu was the first one to make a move. 9 Nether Heavenly Light. The 9 Nether Divine characters instantly spread out from Long Yu's body and enveloped all the martial cultivators of the Long family residence. Then, he activated the 9 Nether Blade without hesitation. Countless blades condensed in the 9 Nether Heavenly Light and slashed towards the Long family residence. In just an instant, hundreds of people died under this move. Star Shackle. Long Yu condensed a dark star and directly targeted the Emperor Realm Long family residence's patriarch, Long Yanghua. Long Yanghua snorted coldly and instantly transformed into his dragon demon form. A long dragon demon attacked furiously, and his Emperor Realm aura completely dispersed the 9 Nether Heavenly Light around him. However, a dark star appeared out of thin air and completely shackled him. After a breath's time, Long Yanghua shattered the dark star. Just as he was about to make a move, he was greeted by Long Yu's 9 Nether Dragon Breath. The pitch-black dragon breath completely enveloped Long Yanghua and caused great damage to his body. However, he was an Emperor Realm expert after all. This was not enough to kill him. However, Long Yu was not in a hurry. With a thought, he instantly activated the Shadow Kill art. In the 9 Nether Heavenly Light, countless shadows instantly condensed into pitch-black sharp blades and began a brutal massacre of the other Long family residence disciples. Long Yu did not think there was anything wrong with this. Since you chose to be my enemy, I will slaughter all of you. Otherwise, I will be the one suffering. Other than Long Yanghua himself, no one in the entire Long family residence could resist Long Yu's killing move. The 9 Nether Heavenly Light was like hell for the Long family residence disciples who were shrouded in it. Chapter 828. When Long Yu's 9 Underworld Heavenly Light continued to shine, enveloping the entire Long residence, everyone except Long Yanghua died under the blade of the 9 Underworld. However, because of this, Long Yu's energy was being depleted rapidly. Fortunately, he had exchanged for quite a number of energy recovery elixirs from the 5 Emperors Alliance, as well as shadow-type exotic beast crystals. As long as he absorbed 1 or 2 of them, he would be able to recover all the energy he had expended. It'll be much easier to clean them up if they're in the Mid-King realm. But it's not difficult even now. Long Yu thought that he wouldn't be a match for the Mid-Emperor realm master of the Falling Moon Manor in his current state. He took out the 2 special Emperor realm crystals and the ancient upper-rank pill he'd prepared beforehand. He'd bought the former from the Lin merchant firm and the latter from the Su medicine hall. Long Yu had spent 12 million Shinbi on these 3 items, but their effects were obvious. Long Yu quietly returned to his original form in the pitch-black 9 Underworld Heavenly Light. He no longer disguised himself and began to absorb the rich world energy from the 3 items with the help of the Void Nether Dragon Blade. His inner world in his Dantian began to expand once more. Strands of star energy from the Dubhe star merged into Long Yu's body, increasing the total amount of world energy he could absorb. An ordinary martial cultivator would only be able to expand their inner world by 5 kilometers at most. However, Long Yu had the Void Nether Dragon Blade and could completely absorb the energy from the pills. Long Yu was ready to break through the remaining 30 kilometers from the Mid-King realm. The 9 Underworld Heavenly Light covered the entire residence. Soon, most of the people in the residence were dead. Not even their corpses were left behind. They were all cut into pieces by the 9 Underworld Blade. Only Long Yanghua and some other late King Realm martial cultivators were still resisting. Since they were Emperor Realm cultivators, they wouldn't be killed so easily by Long Yu. However, It was impossible for them to fight back against Long Yu. Who dares cause trouble in the North Snow Imperial City? Right at this moment, a group of law enforcers flew over swiftly from afar, and the person in the lead was the Silver Fox King, who wore a silver mink coat. Presently, he was still at the advanced stage of the King realm. Beside the Silver Fox King was his father. He was also a mid-Emperor realm expert and had flown over with the law enforcement team. It was obvious that he had received news that the Dragon Manor had been attacked. Over 1,000 members of the North Snow Empire's law enforcement team surrounded the entire Long Manor. They even set up a space ceiling formation to prevent the people inside from escaping. This black mist seems to be Long Yu's doing. The Silver Fox King's handsome face was cold and detached. He led a group of subordinates and stood guard outside. He didn't rush in immediately because the enemy must have at least the strength of an emperor since they dared to attack the Long Manor. The law enforcement team of the North Snow Empire was basically useless in this situation. The only person the Silver Fox King could rely on was his father, the Silver Fox Emperor. If it's really him, I'll make sure he dies without a burial ground today. The Silver Fox Emperor was a middle-aged man with a steady look. At this moment, his face was gloomy as he looked at the black fog of the 9 underworld's heavenly light. Why had the Silver Fox Manor been taken down? It was all because of Long Yu. Now that the Silver Fox Emperor had seen Long Yu, who had destroyed his foundation of many years, how could he let him go so easily? Of course, he had never thought that the reason Yu Hanshin had taken down the Silver Fox Manor was because they wanted to kill Long Yu and take away Long Yu's Dubhichi channeling technique. If they weren't greedy, why would Yu Hanshin target them? They were just asking for trouble. Of course, the Silver Fox Emperor and the Silver Fox King didn't realize this. Even if they did, they wouldn't admit that they were in the wrong. They would only blame it on Long Yu. Very soon, the 9 underworld's heavenly light was dispersed by Long Yanghua and the others again. The figure that appeared in the center was beyond everyone's expectations. Long Yu, Long Yanghua, the Silver Fox King, and the Silver Fox Emperor were all stunned. The Silver Fox King and the Silver Fox Emperor were still fine. They were stunned because they didn't expect Long Yu to overestimate himself and come back to cause trouble. As for Long Yanghua, he was completely stunned. Weren't they dealing with a woman dressed in white just now? Why did it suddenly turn into Long Yu? Could it be that the woman just now was Long Yu in disguise? Thinking about it, it made sense. Otherwise, how could this person know Long Yu's martial skill? Long Yu's figure appeared, and his aura was constantly rising. His inner world soon reached a radius of 90 miles. Once he finished absorbing the final ancient elixir's spiritual qi, he would be able to step into the middle stage of the King realm. However, at this time, the Silver Fox King and the others obviously wouldn't give Long Yu time. God is helping me, Father. This Long Yu actually took the initiative to cause trouble in the city. This is a great opportunity for us to get rid of him. The Silver Fox King's eyes lit up. Not bad. The Silver Fox Emperor nodded his head in satisfaction. It seemed that he was about to get his revenge. How could a mere early-stage King Realm kid survive after encountering a middle-stage Emperor Realm expert like him? Unless Yu Hanshin came back now, but everyone knew that the probability of that happening was too small. How dare you cause trouble in the North Snow Imperial City? Members of the law enforcement team, surround the entire Long residence and stop anyone from escaping. The Silver Fox King shouted, and thousands of members of the law enforcement team responded loudly. Haha, where were the law enforcement team when the people of the Long residence caused trouble? Long Yu didn't expect that the Silver Fox King and the law enforcement team would arrive first. However, it didn't matter. The Silver Fox Emperor was only a middle-stage Emperor Realm expert. If Long Yu broke through, it wouldn't be difficult to deal with the Silver Fox Emperor. The people of the Long residence are law-abiding. When did they cause trouble? The Silver Fox King replied indifferently. Then, he turned around and said, "Father, I'll leave this thief to you." He wasn't stupid. He saw that even Long Yanghua couldn't stop Long Yu from causing trouble in the Long residence by himself. He was only a late-stage King Realm expert, so he would only be courting death if he went over. Therefore, he had to ask his father to take action. Only then would he have a chance to kill Long Yu. After all, as long as Long Yu was dead, even if Yu Hanxin came back, she couldn't punish them. Of course, no one knew that Long Yu was already the Red Emperor's personal disciple. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to attack Long Yu even if they were given 10,000 times the courage. Even if they killed Long Yu, the Red Emperor would be furious. Even an empire wouldn't be able to withstand the anger of the Red Emperor, let alone the Long residence. Unfortunately, they didn't know Long Yu's current identity. This gave them the courage to take action. The Silver Fox Emperor pretended not to know that it was Long Yu. He moved and attacked immediately. Long Yu was just a step away from entering the middle stage King Realm. Of course, he couldn't fight the Silver Fox Emperor now. He just chuckled softly, and then disappeared in a flash. No one saw Long Yu's body turn into a speck of dust and slowly fall to the ground. Everyone thought that Long Yu had used some kind of invisibility technique. Many members of the law enforcement team used their detection techniques related to the divine text of light. Countless rays of holy light shone on the entire Long residence and the surrounding area, trying to find Long Yu, who was invisible. Of course, all of them failed. Even the Silver Fox Emperor took out a silver mirror combat weapon and let the silver mirror shine on the entire area. But he still couldn't find any trace of Long Yu. It was as if Long Yu had really disappeared from the world. Where did that brat go? The Silver Fox Emperor's face suddenly turned gloomy. He thought that he could kill Long Yu in an instant, but he didn't expect Long Yu to be so elusive. He actually disappeared under the noses of so many people. I don't know, but this brat is very strange. You must be careful at all times. Long Yanghua led the few remaining people of the Long Mansion and said with a face full of hatred. Even if they won this battle, the Long Mansion could be considered to have completely declined. The entire Demon Dragon tribe was almost completely wiped out. Moreover, they didn't manage to kill Long Yu. If Long Yu was given a chance to make a comeback, Long Yanghua didn't doubt that he would also die in the hands of Long Yu. Therefore, he could only rely on the Silver Fox Emperor now. The Silver Fox Emperor immediately led his people to search the city. But he didn't know that Long Yu had turned into a speck of dust and landed in the Long residence. He himself was in the space of the Book of Dark Shadows, making a breakthrough. 100 miles, it's a success. With the help of 2 special crystals of the Emperor Realm and an ancient high-grade elixir, Long Yu had successfully expanded his inner world to 100 miles. This would be a transformation of his strength. Without any hesitation, Long Yu began using the power of his inner world to temper his fleshly body, further strengthening it. Most importantly, all the meridians in his body had been tempered to the point that they were as tough as steel. Mid-stage King Realm. From now on, Long Yu could use any method without any restrictions, be it martial arts or supernatural powers. It would be incomparably smooth to use. The time Long Yu used to break through was not long. In fact, it only took him a few dozen breaths. When he reappeared in the Long residence, the Silver Fox King had just led his people to search the surroundings. As for the Silver Fox Emperor and Long Yanghua, they wanted to enter the Long residence to discuss in detail. Unfortunately, when the two of them wanted to step into the main hall of the Long residence, something strange happened. A wave of divine character power of the Phantom Spiral instantly bloomed under their feet and enveloped them in an instant. Their expressions changed drastically, and they immediately released their aura, wanting to break the sealing power of the Phantom Spiral. However, what followed was a terrifying dragon breath of the 9 underworlds. No, it was not just one breath, but 2, 3, 7 breaths. Long Yu had just broken through to the mid-stage king realm. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with the two of them. After all, talking to these people was a complete waste of breath. In that case, he might as well just kill them and be done with it. Therefore, he temporarily hid himself and launched a sudden attack, bursting out dragon breath of the 9 underworlds one after another. There was no need to doubt the destructive power of the 9 underworlds' dragon breath, and after Long Yu stepped into the intermediate stage of the king realm, his basic strength became even stronger, and the destructive power of this 9 underworlds' divine ability increased by several times. Chapter 829. Long Yanghua, who was only at the initial stage of the Emperor realm, was the first to succumb. He couldn't withstand the dragon breaths of the 9 underworlds even though he was constantly deploying defensive technique. He had no choice but to use the origin power of his inner world to increase his speed. He retreated backwards like a streak of golden light, leaving Long Yu's range of attacks. At the same time, Long Yanghua had transformed into a dazzling golden flood dragon. However, Long Yu was the first to realize that he wanted to escape. He immediately used the Dark Star imprisonment, trapping the golden flood dragon within it. Following that, the Netherworld spiral runes blossomed beneath his feet, as well as the soul imprint rainbow and the hand of the 9 underworlds. Long Yanghua realized that he couldn't escape and wanted to attack Long Yu himself. Unfortunately, Long Yu's continuous attacks overwhelmed him, and he was completely suppressed. Long Yu's attacks were too much for him to deal with. Long Yanghua's strength couldn't compare to the young master of the Dark Shadow Pavilion, so Long Yu could easily suppress him. In the span of a few breaths, Long Yanghua's flood dragon body was riddled with holes. The divine characters of the 9 underworlds had long since corroded his entire body. No matter what method or martial technique he used, he couldn't withstand Long Yu's attacks. "You're courting death." It was at this moment that the mid-stage Emperor Realm Silver Fox Emperor's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He finally broke free from the countless dragon breaths of the 9 underworlds and attacked Long Yu while Long Yu was busy dealing with Long Yanghua. His entire body was enveloped in the divine characters of ice and space. He was like a sharp blade that could cut through space itself as he attempted to cleave Long Yu in half. Long Yu was almost completely unfazed by the mid-stage Emperor Realm's powerful attack. He only lifted his hand lightly when his opponent was about to reach him. Ancient Dragon Bone Tower. An enormous, simple, yet magnificent ancient tower instantly appeared on the battlefield. Immediately afterwards, Long Yu activated a technique that was compatible with the ancient Dragon Bone Tower. Dragon Bone Break. The entire ancient dragon skeleton tower was aimed directly at the Silver Fox Emperor, who was launching a sneak attack. Then, it began to spin rapidly like a high-speed drill, breaking through the air. At that moment, the surrounding space was completely sealed. Long Yu realized that even his path of 9 spirits was unable to break through the space here. Divine fusion of harmony. With a thought, Long Yu sensed the aura of the ancient dragon skeleton tower. His compatibility with it had finally improved, reaching the level of divine unity. As a result, Long Yu could use the ancient dragon skeleton tower to construct an absolute spatial domain. Within this domain, no one would be able to escape. Not only would they be unable to use spatial divine runes to escape, they wouldn't even be able to fly. This thought only lasted for an instant. Then, the ancient Dragonbone Tower collided head-on with the Silver Fox Emperor's spatial blade of frost. The ancient supreme rank weapon and the Emperor Realm's Silver Fox Emperor collided head-on. In the end, as Long Yu had expected, the Silver Fox Emperor was unable to resist the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower's attack at all, and was torn to pieces. Without a doubt, after the ancient Dragon Skeleton Tower was repaired to become a supreme ancient rank weapon, the Dragon Bone Break would become Long Yu's strongest attack. Be it the Dragon Breath of the 9 Underworlds or the Nether Dragon 9 Explosions, Their destructive power was far inferior to the dragon bone break. As the Silver Fox Emperor's body was torn to pieces and thoroughly dead, Long Yu turned his gaze to the nearby Long Yanghua. Long Yanghua had wanted to escape, but unfortunately, Long Yu happened to be in perfect harmony with the ancient dragon skeleton tower, constructing an absolute spatial domain. Long Yanghua couldn't escape at all, and could only wander around the edge of the domain. After Long Yu dealt with the Silver Fox Emperor, Long Yu flew towards Long Yanghua. After absorbing 2 dark beast crystals, Long Yu had recovered most of his divine rune power. He raised his hand and executed the Phantom Spiral and Dragon Breath of the 9 Underworld. Dragon Breath of the 9 Underworlds. Dragon Breath of the 9 Underworlds. Dragon Breath of the 9 Underworlds. After another 3 Dragon Breaths of the 9 Underworlds, Long Yanghua finally couldn't hold on any longer. He wanted to beg for mercy, but just as the thought crossed his mind, Long Yu stabbed the Nether Void Dragon blade into the heart of his Jiao dragon body. 2 Emperor Realm experts died in Long Yu's hands in less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn. At this time, the Silver Fox King, who had spread out to search for Long Yu, finally realized something was wrong from his subordinate. He hurriedly led thousands of enforcers back to the Long residence. What entered his eyes was his father's dismembered corpse, as well as the scene of Long Yu stabbing Long Yanghua to death with a single slash. Surround him. No matter what it takes, we must kill this traitor. The Silver Fox King felt a chill in his heart. Without a doubt, the current Long Yu was too strong. He was unimaginably strong. Although he was only a mid-stage King Realm cultivator, he could easily kill Emperor Realm experts at the same level as his father and Long Yanghua. After the Silver Fox King gave the order, he quickly retreated and wanted to escape. This person wanted to use the lives of thousands of enforcers to delay Long Yu so that he could escape. Unfortunately, how could Long Yu let him do as he wished? Where are you running to? Long Yu's voice rang in the Silver Fox King's ears like a nightmare. Then, he appeared in front of the Silver Fox King and raised his hand. The 9 Underworlds' heavenly light instantly covered the surroundings. When the 9 Underworlds' heavenly light was comprehended to its peak, it also had the effect of sealing space divine runes. However, it was different from the use of the absolute space domain. In most cases, one of them was enough. The 9 Underworlds' heavenly light could only seal space divine runes. If the martial cultivators inside knew other powers, they could dispel the 9 Underworlds' heavenly light. The absolute space domain could not be dispelled. Even Long Yu would be completely trapped in it. Of course, if Long Yu wanted to leave, he could cancel the absolute space domain at any time. This was the best way to trap his opponent. The 9 Underworlds' heavenly light spread and completely trapped the Silver Fox King. After 3 breaths, the 9 Underworlds' heavenly light quickly dissipated. However, the Silver Fox King's body had been completely annihilated by Long Yu's attack and was mercilessly beheaded. This scene shocked the thousands of enforcers who were about to make a move. Wasn't Long Yu a little too strong? He only needed 3 breaths to deal with the Silver Fox King, who was 1 realm higher than him. Members of the enforcers, listen up. Long Yu looked around and looked at the group of enforcers who were in the Divine Power Secret Realm and the early and middle stages of the King Realm. He said lightly, "Do you choose to listen to the Silver Fox King's orders or Yuhanshin's?" Other than the Silver Fox King, who was the captain of the North Snow Imperial Capital's enforcers, there were many deputy captains. These deputy captains were all martial cultivators in the middle stages of the King Realm. They originally wanted to defend the North Snow Imperial Capital to the death, but when they heard Long Yu's words, they subconsciously replied at the same time, "Of course we will listen to Lady Yuhanshin. That's enough. Yuhanshin is now my senior sister," Long Yu said lightly. This sentence instantly shocked all the enforcers on the spot. Yuhanshin was now Long Yu's senior sister? Was there a need to say who they would listen to? What's more, the Silver Fox King and the Silver Fox Emperor were already dead. Long Yu's combat power was terrifying. Even if they attacked together, they couldn't deal with Long Yu. Instead of dying in vain, it was better to go back and investigate first to see if Long Yu was really Yu Hanxin's junior brother. In other words, to see if Long Yu was already a personal disciple of the Red Emperor. Dismiss. The deputy captains of the enforcers immediately ordered everyone to disperse. Then, several deputy captains came in front of Long Yu and said, "We will solve the matter of the Long residence for you." The Long residence and the Silver Fox King conspired to kill Lady Yu Hanxin's junior brother. They deserved it. Thank you, everyone. Long Yu smiled slightly and raised his hand to throw more than 10 great desolate great elixirs. Consider these as a greeting gift. Each of you take 3. The eyes of the deputy captains of the enforcers suddenly lit up. Great desolate great elixirs cost at least 10,000 shinbi each. Now that Long Yu casually gave them 3, they suddenly made a big profit. The effect of this bribe was very obvious. The deputy captains of the enforcers immediately felt admiration for Long Yu. No need to feel pity, Lord Long. In the future, we still have to rely on you and Lord Yu to develop our country. One of the deputy captains said solemnly. He was very clear that if Long Yu really became the Red Emperor's personal disciple, then the North Snow Empire would have 2 Red Emperor's personal disciples. Which other country had this kind of glory? From this, one could see that the North Snow Empire's development was just around the corner. When that time came, the members of the law enforcement team would definitely get more benefits and more cultivation resources, and thus climb to a higher martial arts realm. Alone, Long Yu headed to the North Snow Empire's Falling Moon Manor. This was the Long Residence's ally. Similar to the Long Residence's manor lord, many of their people were killed by Long Yu in the domain of rubble. In the operation against the Azura Manor, the Falling Moon Manor also had a part in it. Unlike the Sky Manor and the Silver Fox Manor, Yu Hanxin had taken away their forces, so the Silver Fox Manor and the Sky Manor no longer existed. As for the Falling Moon Manor, only the main force had died outside, but the Falling Moon Manor itself still existed. Moreover, the Manor Lord of the Falling Moon Manor was not dead yet. This trip of Long Yu's was to wipe out the Falling Moon Manor in one fell swoop, or at least kill the Manor Lord. When in the Azura Manor, Long Yu heard from Shu Chan that the Falling Moon Manor and the Long Residence had joined forces to attack the Azura Manor. They had already killed more than a dozen people from the Azura Manor, all of whom died tragically. This made Long Yu put the people from the Falling Moon Manor on his kill list. It would have been fine if he did not have the strength, but now that he had enough power, of course, he would not let go of those who deserved to be killed. If the Azura Manor and the Heavenly Mandate Manor wanted to develop steadily, they could not afford to have such a potential enemy. Therefore, Long Yu had to wipe out the Falling Moon Manor. When he arrived at the Falling Moon Manor, he found the people of the Falling Moon Manor waiting for him at the entrance under the leadership of the Falling Moon Manor's Manor Lord. Every one of them was trembling with fear. Obviously, the news of the Long Residence's annihilation had reached their ears. Lord Long, the Falling Moon Manor pleads guilty. Please give us a lighter sentence. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.